Okay, come to order. April 13th, 2026, 7 p.m. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Let's get started. We have as far as the termination of quorum, everyone's here, so everyone's present. I want to ask you to go ahead and be quiet, please. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any additions, deletions, or adoption of the agenda from anyone? I have an addition. I'd like to add Matt Ray, our code enforcement officer. We had a meeting, Greg and I had a meeting, so this past Friday, and so I'd like to enter that someplace so we can discuss that.
I have to add item K, a discussion of of code enforcement audit of nuisance ordinances. Is that what you're referring to?
I'm sorry, can you say it one more time?
Discussion of code enforcement audit of the nuisance ordinances.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's K.
Item K.
Okay, that's on the back.
And then I have also item L, a discussion of the resolutions of support of legislation to remove fluoride from the water supply. Just a discussion.
Yep.
And then I also have, I had an email from the League of Municipalities. We need to designate a council member as a voting delegate for the League of Municipalities Board of Elections. So I request that we add item M, designate a council member as the voting delegate for the League of Municipalities.
Okay. I just have one small, I call correction to the minutes of the retreat. You want that now or then? Because it's on the consent agenda.
And we should, if we're going to, yeah.
It's one word.
Okay, go ahead. Give it to me.
At the end, hold on a second, I had it here.
It's the word.
It is, if you look at the minutes under text amendments for the retreat on the planning board discussion, text amendments on UDO,
Yes.
the very last one on steep slopes,
Yes, sir.
the last word should be not revised, but reviewed.
Gotcha.
And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you.
What did you say M was?
Designate council member as voting delegate for the League of Municipalities Board of Directors election.
Okay.
And that's the housekeeping type stuff.
Yeah. Don't you want to run for the League of Municipalities for something?
I got too much to do.
I don't.
Sorry.
Okay. Is that everything? We're all good? Can I get a motion to approve the
I make a
the
motion
agenda
to
as
approve
presented?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as revised.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, it's approved. Number 5, conflict of interest statement. In accordance with state law, it is the duty of every council member to avoid conflicts of interest. Does any council member have any known conflict of interest with respect to any matter or matters on the agenda? If so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any participation in the matter involved. Any conflicts? Okay, no conflicts. We'll move forward. Mayor and council member reports. Anybody have anything?
I can get started. This past month, I had actually a great meeting with a group called the Native Plant Initiative. Greg and I sat down and kind of talked through potentially if builders are going to clear the land. This is a potential way for any participant who's interested, either with a garden club or just an individual, can kind of sign up. And things would be flagged in yards. They can come with a shovel and paint some things. And so they are native plants that you can put into your yard. It's better than just getting kind of disappearing into the earth. And it's good both from a PR basis for builders, but also for residents, right? We can continue to encourage like happy nature stuff. So we kind of worked something out that potentially, and it's all volunteer, right? That we could do a pilot in April with Classica. So we will get more information in terms of dates. It is a very low impact type of thing. People go in, individuals go in and out in under 2 hours with a shovel and a sled. And they take a couple of things and you pop them in your car and you're off and ready to go. And so it looks like we will probably, I will ask Karen, but maybe we can put this on a website when we have a firm date, just so people can be informed. And if they're interested, they will sign a waiver and kind of go out and work with the Native Plant Initiative. So that's,
As for information, can they contact you for this contact
Happily.
person?
yes,
Okay, and your information is on our website.
correct. So it's Ellen McLaughlin at townofweddington.com. So if you have any questions, reach out.
Awesome, thank you, Ellen. Tom?
Okay, first off, I have not gotten an update from DOT on any road improvements / repaving of our residential streets. They have let a number of contracts for major roads, numbered roads or whatnot, but not for residential streets. So hopefully by the next meeting, we will have an update from that. I assume they're working down from bigger projects to smaller projects. That's my best guess. WUMA, we met in Mineral Springs, actually did not have a quorum. We were short on people. We did discuss a bit of the fluoride, which we'll talk about later. And we didn't really do much because we couldn't do anything. The next meeting will be April 23rd in Stallings. So that is WUMA. And on just a separate non-town note, I'll say I had the pleasure to be in Chapel Hill this weekend at the Duke UNC Peace Conference, where the graduates of their Peace Center program, they had 12 graduates graduate with a degree in conflict prevention and I don't know the exact word of it anyway. Resolution and conflict prevention, peace and conflict resolution. And we had 12 presenters. These were all master degree students from all over the world. A whole number of countries, none from the U.S. The requirement is they have to be outside coming in, and very interesting what they're going to do with their lives after they leave here. And the main thing they talked about is how people of different opinions can work together to come to common solutions for the good of their communities. So it was very interesting. And if Duke and UNC can have peace and conflict resolution, anybody can. So I'll just point that out. But it was very interesting that we have that. The only center in the U.S. is in Chapel Hill up there. So we are the sole center of it. So anyway, it was a very interesting weekend. I'll just say that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Anybody else?
I don't have anything today.
Nothing today? Okay.
Nothing from me.
Nothing? Okay. We're going to move into our public comments portion. And before we do that, I'll read my little spiel here. Public comments are limited to 4 minutes. Public hearing comments are limited to 3 minutes. Comments are to be directed at the entire board and not individuals nor the public attending the meeting. If you turn around and start addressing the public, I'm going to have to stop you. If you continue on, then I'll have to stop you. Comments are to be directed at the entire board, like I said. The public comments are limited to those that are germane to and within the jurisdiction of the town. Topics are to be removed. Topics that are removed or impertinent from the business of the board shall be prohibited. Additionally, public comments shall not be topics that have an allocated or specific public hearing time. Instead, public comments are limited to those that do not have allocated time under a public hearing. A designated spokesperson for a group of 3 or more may be allocated to 6 minutes to speak. At least 3 members of the group must be present, and names and addresses of those members present must be submitted to the town clerk before the meeting begins. Other than pursuant to this rule, you may not give any of your time to another speaker to increase that speaker's allotted time. You must be civil in your language and presentation and act within reasonable standards of courtesy. Use of slander, name-calling, personal attacks, or threatening speech or behavior is prohibited. The audience must maintain order and decorum in their conduct. Please refrain from disruptive applause, comments, or disorderly speaking during the meeting. Disturbances that disturb the order and decorum of the meeting will be prohibited. The mayor or majority of the board may suspend these rules at their discretion. Failure to abide by these rules after receiving notice by the mayor may result in 1, termination of your comment period, and or removal from the meeting altogether. Okay? Kurt, come on up. You're the first. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. Mayor Bell and council members, my name is Kurt Voorhees, and I live in Arbor Oaks, small neighborhood of 10 homes, 9 of those homes located on Bonner Drive and 1 on Amanda Drive. We have been engaged with Toll Brothers and the town of Weddington, voicing our opposition to the Bonner Drive connection to Morris Farm since this development was first announced to Weddington residents last June. Since then, our focus has been primarily on the connection itself, as opposed to the Morris Farm development as a whole. Now, over the last several weeks and months, and this is probably a gross understatement, y'all have heard from the residents of Bonner Drive, Amanda Drive, Carey Lane. All 3 of those streets are going to be negatively impacted by this Bonner Drive connection. Now, the common thread in all of the comments and the feedback that you've received is that we do not want Bonner Drive, again, a 9-home cul-de-sac street, being used as a cut-through, carrying commercial residential traffic to and from a neighborhood that's going to be 4 times our size. Specifically, we believe that connection is going to result in an increase in traffic volume, vehicle speeds, and erosion of our home values, we firmly believe. And quite honestly, it's going to destroy our neighborhood's quiet character. We also believe it'll be a significant increase in pedestrian and children and safety hazards for pedestrians and children. Many of you may not know, I wouldn't expect you to, but we have 16 kids just on Bonner Drive. So it is, and they're very active and they are all over the place. And then also at the very end of the cul-de-sac, we have some really rather magnificent old growth oak trees, several of them that will have to be taken out if that road is punched through. So council members, you know, for the residents of Bonner Drive, Amanda Drive, Carey Lane, I mean, the stakes are pretty high. And your vote, and I know it's not happening tonight, but your vote will have a profound impact on our neighborhoods and, quite honestly, our quality of life. So as your constituents, we trust that you'll take that into account when it comes time for y'all to cast your vote on the project, and in particular, the Bonner Drive connection. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Richard Bailey.
Good evening. I'm Richard Bailey. I live on Carey Lane, Mandy's Plantation, which is adjacent to Amanda Drive and Bonner Road. I've lived in this development since 1982. I'm the second oldest member of that community. Back in 79, when I purchased my lot from Dick Bonner, I went to see him and asked him what his intent was for our road. And he says, well, I'm collecting money and putting it in escrow for the road to be paved when we sell all these lots. And so I went ahead and bought my lot with that in mind. Anyway, as time went on, we filled out the community and we started thinking about getting the road paved. And so we approached Bonner and he informed us that he didn't have the money. And so promises made, but not kept. So we went on with our business. So 5 or 6 of us got together and decided to form a homeowners association and tackle the problem of the road, because it was a gravel road that was not kept the best it could be, and often when it rained, it was a mud hole. So anyway, we got together, formed a homeowners association, and we were charged with exploring the idea of paving the road. We set out bids, got bids in, and determined how much it cost, and we determined which one we wanted to select. We took it to the community, and they were good with us proceeding with it, and we formed a committee, elected officers to the homeowners association, and we formed a committee and completed the process of accepting bids and going through them. We came up with a winner and went ahead and took it back to the community and said, look, now we've got to figure out how we're going to pay for this. So we came over several suggestions, but in the end, we decided to basically charge each homeowner with road frontage on Cary and Armanda, just pay a flat fee. We thought that would be the best approach, and those who owned 2 lots wouldn't be hit as hard as one. So that's what we decided upon. And we just took the bid, the amount of the cost of the road, and divided it by the number of houses. And that was how much we charged for the road. We collected 90% of the owners. And so we'd put contingency in that we'd probably get about that percentage. So we had enough money to pave it. Went ahead and got it paved. After it was paved, the community got together. We worked the ditches and the sides of the roads and planted the grass, and that's where we ended that process. Then we turned the road over. We decided to turn the road over to the state because we didn't want to have the responsibility for upkeep and having to go back to the neighbors again and ask them for more money. So we all agreed. We turned it over to the state in 1986. And at that time, you know, things were good. But over the years, very rarely did we have the state come in and do anything to the road. A few potholes here and there. And then last year, the road was tarred and chat gravel put down and packed, and that's the end of that road. So
Is that
Yeah.
your time? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. You
Oh,
can finish
okay.
it in 30 seconds.
all
You're
right.
out of time.
So we're just asking you that we think that the road will probably impact our street to the tune of 50% or more. We too are worried for the kids, and there's a lot of speeding on our road. And so we just ask that you give us due consideration. Since we paid for it, we're probably the only community in the area that
Okay.
did not have a contractor to pay for the road.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Appreciate you coming up. Thank you. Steve Holmes?
Folks, thank you very much for allowing us to do this.
Thank you for
And I
coming.
appreciate your personal invite to come in when we learned there was some mix up about what nights this was going to happen. So I don't know if we collected all of our group or not, but we caught a few.
Yeah.
So here we go. And I'll try to I wrote mine down, so I'm not as smart as these guys. I think I can give a little context to the background of this because of some prior experiences. You know, I've been here in that neighborhood for 45 years. And along with Richard, you know, part of the original team that paved those streets. We've gone through a lot of stuff. This is the third version of people wanting to encroach in our community with transportation issues. So we've dealt with it before. In general, for context, there seems to have been a great concern for new communities access planning, and a lesser concern for the resultant public safety issues that would negatively affect the legacy communities like ours, the smaller guys that were here a long time ago. We believe that compromises our safety and at the expense of our safety for the benefit of others. So it doesn't seem to be practical to us. Our issues are like you would expect: traffic volume, traffic speed, some liability, and the biggest one is the deteriorated condition of our roads. They were there for, those roads have been on the ground for 43 years. A lot of these folks in the room were originals, and they have paid what constitutes a lifetime of taxes and no show from NCDOT for any reason. Okay, so that's kind of, doesn't seem quite fair, but that's the way that is. We have had a lot of contact with NCDOT, and Lee Ainsworth used to be the, I don't know if you remember Lee, he was a fine gentleman, had a lot of touch with him. NCDOT previously confirmed to us that the average life expectancy for a road like ours is 25 years. And we're 43 years into it. Okay. What's deteriorated in our road is the depth of stone that remains, the thickness of the asphalt, storm drainage issues, and obviously there's no curbing yet. There's no sidewalks for pedestrians, very small roads. And new developments, and I'm not sure what's planned for Toll Brothers, but I've gone out and just measured the one behind us with Vintage Creek. And those streets are 24 feet wide. Okay, support a lot of traffic with that. Our streets are 17 to 18 feet wide. It's a big difference. Not only are they deteriorated in the substrate, but they're very small and they vary from the years of use. It's not uncommon if you meet just a regular sized pickup truck, you got to slow down and move over. Two pickup trucks, one's got to yield to the other and get their tires in the grass. That's how tight that can be. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. So that puts walkers, bikers, children playing. They're in the road. It's their communities where they live up. That's the only place they got to play. And traffic that is already burdening our roads is there. They're at risk. So we don't feel like we need another 38 homes worth of potential volume that could theoretically almost double the demand on those streets at peak times. It just doesn't seem like a logical or correct thing that happened. And just recently, in CDOT, the only thing we ever saw from them is they put down what they call the chips and fog seal, which is basically
Your time is up, but if you can just wrap it up, I'd
Yeah.
appreciate it.
okay. We have I think I've covered most of this. The only thing I would say is that in introduction of that Bonner Drive extension would put unwarranted kind of additional burden on roads that already aren't even fit for our use. And I will ask, I don't think there is a statute that mandates that either by the town or the state. I think it's a perceived convenience for folks. And, nice folks in the planning board, not whatever, like to say, let's do it, but they don't understand the human impact.
Okay.
So that's what.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
appreciate
okay.
it. Thank
All
you
right.
so
Thank
much. Sound of the evening is something different each time, right?
Cattle prod?
No.
That was beef hook.
The big net is next.
Yes. Okay, LB, is it Flanner?
Yes.
Come on up. Thank you for coming, and we'll see what kind of sound you get.
Oh no, I've prepared something because if something starts barking, quacking, or nuts come out, I will get derailed. So thank you all for being here, for my neighborhood for showing up, and for the council for doing your due diligence. My name is LB Fleener, and I'm a resident of Weddington and a native Charlottean. I live at 200 Cary Lane, and I have seen unprecedented growth in my short, almost 40 years here Earthside. And quite frankly, our infrastructure cannot support the growth that is happening so rapidly. I truly feel like I live in a little slice of heaven in the neighborhood in which I reside. We come together to reunite lost animals, break bread, and warmly welcome new neighbors. And most importantly, we support each other, and we've rallied together multiple times to stop things that would destroy the quality, character, and livelihood of our neighborhood. This is not the first time that we've come before this council to request the integrity of our roads being maintained. Our road was paved, as Mr. Holmes and Mr. Bailey had said, by residents almost 40 years ago, and most recently patched, and by the NCDOT. I say patched because what was done is not up to the standards or quality of our main roads. Opening Bonner Drive would be to the detriment of our community. It is our responsibility to steward what we have been given, and as I see it, we are leaving a mess for future generations to repair with limited resources. Our water quality is being depleted, our schools are at capacity, and our lot sizes are shrinking. The very things that support life, we seem to take care of the least, and we all have to do better. So please make the right choice in supporting your constituents and my wonderful neighbors by voting no to the proposed extension on Bonner Drive.
Okay, great. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming. Chad?
Good evening, Chad Emerine, Eagle Road. I'll make sure I stay below 4 minutes. I have a couple of agenda items that I would just like to comment on tonight. First is the environmental survey scope of work. A more concrete designation of environmentally sensitive lands has been requested from the town council for nearly 2 years now. Councilman Smith has asked for this a couple times. Given that we know some areas based on prior submittals, can council go ahead and designate some of these areas on a map instead of waiting months longer? We know about the Bald Eagle's Nest, Arrow Plantations Lake, and the delicate ecosystem there, and the impacts to 12 Mile Creek. We know of the Mundy's Run Basin and how the Woods Project and Weddington Green could have impacted those, and the pending railroad extension. Why not discuss and add items to a map as soon as possible? Environmentally sensitive lands have been mentioned in both the current and prior land use plans, so it needs to be addressed. Second is the architectural standards. I would like to see something like this adopted. If you compare some builders to what they put in places like Marvin versus Weddington, they're actually providing more, which looks better and helps the property values. Things like more brick, stucco, and stone for one, side-load garages, crawl space foundations are another. I would also like to see Weddington have guidelines around covering the skirting of the concrete foundations with brick or stone like you'll even see in Marvin. Having exposed concrete shows mud and is a maintenance challenge. Sometimes people even paint them to hide the appearance. Beechwood and Jones Homes are examples of this if you look at some of their stuff in Marvin versus here. Third, I wanted to speak of the website design contract. I think to aid in transparency and improve community engagement, it would be helpful to allow residents a window to provide input on what they would like to see in an updated website. For example, I would like to see status updates on development projects, both major and minor, so a resident can clearly see, is this at the community meeting status? Is it ready for the planning board, etc. It would also help to have a map of the town where you can see each of these projects so you know what's going on near you. Maybe offer a window where residents can submit ideas to staff and see if that makes sense to incorporate in the new revised website. And finally, I'd like to mention in the planning board rules of procedure, I'm not really sure what's being covered here tonight, but in reading over it, I noticed in point 22G, it mentions that the planning board approves minor subdivision plats. In the minutes, I can see where the board has discussed and approved that in minor subdivisions in the past, but I don't see it happening in the last few years. So I don't know if that's something that needs to be reconciled between the rules of procedure and our UDO, but I think it would be beneficial to have the planning board review minor subdivisions. I think that helps with transparency and ensures that we have a thoroughly reviewed development, regardless of whether it's small or a big development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chad. Chris Neef?
Hey, good evening. Christopher Neve, 110 Chasestone Court. I was disappointed last month to see the approval of the subdivision with half-acre lots on Forest Lawn Drive. I would like to see a greater level of transparency about what you all stand for currently online. The current statements are posted publicly that on the Weddington Wall website. One council member states that they wish to ensure residential growth remains low density, 1 acre per home, with an emphasis on environmentally friendly land development. Another states they support R40 lot size, 1 home per acre. Another states 1 acre lots only, and RCD. These are all statements from current council members, 3 of the 5 of you. So it was disappointing, and a lot of residents were disappointed as well to see the approval of half-acre lots. It was also the implication was made that it had something to do with the downzoning law. That is inaccurate information. We do still have, I want to stress, we do still have conditional zoning in Weddington. Conditional zoning means that municipal councils such as yourself, legislative bodies, and appellate courts in North Carolina have upheld this decision time and time again and given guidelines as to what it means. So what conditions can you all place on a development? You can place conditions so long as they are reasonable, not arbitrary or unduly discriminating, and that they are in the public's interest and in line with our town's land use plan. It is entirely up to you, and you have this ability and authority to make these decisions and place conditions, including enforcing 1 acre lots. And I would like to encourage that in the future, especially when so many residents have been led to believe that you will do just that. And this also speaks to the Bonner Road connection with the upcoming Toll Brothers development proposal, and what a lot of residents are expressing today. You have every ability to place conditions so long as they are reasonable on a developer when you approve that application. Also, speaking to the park, I just want to state, first of all, to those who stepped up for the park and the park and events committee, I'm grateful for that. I always thought we could improve a lot our events here in town. I just think we should do it without the expense to the town, a huge financial burden on our town. And I would not like to see taxes increase. I don't think it would be wise to use our town reserve funds for the development of the park, especially when we have no future plans, solid plans as to how we are going to fund the park, the maintenance and oversight of the park after it is built. So I just want to encourage you to please present a good plan as to how you will not raise taxes and be able to fund the park after it's completed. Thank you.
Brian Mason, come on up. Thanks for coming.
Good evening. I'm Brian Mason. I'm Cherry Hollow Lane in the Willow Oak subdivision. The proposed Toll Brothers farm development will back onto my property. Understand through some of the details, there will be 50-foot buffer zone and with the addition of 39 lots. My concern really is sort of a broader context of what's been discussed here this evening already in terms of the level of development that's escalated in terms of traffic volume. Getting in and out of our neighborhood is becoming more and more dangerous and more difficult. So when we moved there 13 years ago, my wife and I thought we were getting out of sort of Matthews area, more into rural area. And in 13 years, and probably in less than 5 years since we had moved there, we noticed obviously the world will catch up with you at some point. We understand that. But what my concern is, I don't see it's being done in a responsible way in terms of traffic management, infrastructure development. This is all 2-lane roads, service all this stuff out here. And all we do is we see, or all that I see, is that the developments are put in like the left-hand turn lanes for certain new developments to get the traffic off the road. Okay for them, that's great. For Harlow's Crossing, those areas, they've got that stuff. We don't. So, and with the addition of the Weddington Road connector at 485, there is a noticeable change in the traffic volume. Getting in and out of our neighborhood at peak hours and we have a hill as well that can be obstructed by trees, in which you try and get DOT to trim back. It's becoming dangerous. And I guess my concern is we keep shoehorning more and more infrastructure into these areas. We're not building roads that are going to handle this. The Bonner connection is another issue of the sidebar, that we're trying to shoehorn all this stuff into infrastructure that doesn't support it. And from a safety perspective, we're concerned. My other comment would be is, what are we doing to hold developers like the Toll Brothers accountable? Okay, you want to put a 39 development subdivision in. How does that impact everybody else? And what do we need to have them come to the table and say, hey, you're going to have to fix this, this, and this on your ticket as part of your development. Have them put some skin in the game to make our infrastructure better, rather than having to go through DOT, go through government. As we all know, it's going to be an arduous process. So my point is, let's hold these guys accountable. Let's do the right things for the neighbors here. Make them pony up the bucks if they want to put the development in. Why not? So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. Scott Burns? Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Council. Scott Burns, Bonner Drive, 21 years in Weddington, and a lot of, Kurt and Steve gave some great feedback to you guys, and so I won't, reiterate all of that to you, but Kurt and I are on the board of our massive 10-home neighborhood there, and a big part of what I wanted to do tonight was Kurt gave great information, but I also wanted to sign up just to be sure, make it clear that it's important to me and go on record that it's important to me. And I also am representing the other members on Bonner Drive and those 16 kids and the impact it would have to their quality of life. The other thing I wanted to bring up that I think you've already confirmed is there are probably a number of emails coming in from the Bonner Drive folks, and then also our neighbors on Carrie and Amanda. And so to Steve's point, I also want to reiterate that this isn't just a little Bonner Drive little issue. This is more a broader, almost, sub-community aspect of what's going on. And so all I would ask is a vote of no for the cut through on Bonner. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Okay, that's everyone for our public comments. Public safety report. Deputy Flower, come on up. Entertain us for what all the crazy stuff that's going on in town.
Nothing too crazy, thankfully.
Okay.
Deputy Plyler, Union County Sheriff's Office, Town of Weddington Contract Deputy. Our month of March report looks great. We had 34 business checks, which is just going in businesses during daytime and nighttime if they're open, making sure everything's okay, making our presence known. We've also had 645 preventative patrols this last month. That's in your neighborhoods, driving around, looking at houses, just checking up on the general well-being of the neighborhoods. We had 8 residential checks last month as well, and that's a form that you guys can fill out on the Town of Weddington or the Sheriff's Office websites. Let's say you're going on vacation or an extended business trip. You fill out this form, it comes to me, I enter it into our system, and then we will check on your house while you're not there just to make sure nothing nefarious is going on. Also, in the month of March, we had 146 traffic stops. That was us out on Providence Road and in school zones. We're really trying to tackle this speeding problem. That's probably our biggest complaint that we get is speeding in the area. So we're really trying to tackle that. And a caveat to that speeding issue is we've had a couple incidents last month in the town of Weddington specifically with e-bikes and e-motos. I know that's a sensitive topic right now, and I'm not trying to get in the weeds with that. But I want to reiterate that e-bikes and e-motos are awesome. They're fun to ride safely and responsibly and with sound judgment. We don't want them out on the roads if they're not allowed to be. It becomes a serious safety hazard, and a slew of infractions and charges could come on it. So if you have kids, I would just reiterate to them that have fun riding them, but be safe and responsible. Don't make us be the ones that have to, make the decision for them. Okay. So thank you.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to add one little comment, if I may.
Yep.
This month, I had a friend who went out of town, and I didn't know she was out of town. And at about 5 a.m., I get a call from CPI that there was something that went awry, and I was an emergency contact. So at 5 a.m., I jumped out of my car. They said police were in transit, and I went to her property. You guys were responsive. You were there probably in about 4 minutes. respectful, quick in these moments of panic. Like we could not see more than 10 feet in front because it was so dark outside in a very wooded area. And I cannot say enough how grateful I am, how quick you guys were in those, when you're literally standing in the woods in the middle of the night going, what's going on, right? So I just want to give a shout out to you guys. I'm always, I can only sing the praises of Union County Sheriff's Office, but from experience, truly thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do. Okay. We have a presentation from Active Waste this evening. Come on up. Thank you for being here.
Well, and we really don't have a presentation. First of all, Mayor, Council, I just want to say thank you so much. It's such an honor to be part of your neighborhood every day. We had to come before you, and a great year last year. We constantly are routes, making any changes that we can to, when they're maybe a heavier on one day and not the other day, we're constantly critiquing that. And we work well with the town staff. From time to time, especially this year was a little challenging in January and February with the snow and holidays and things like that. We did our best to stay on top of it for you. We did have some delays just because we don't want to put our guys out there and, when there's safety issues and things of that nature. But I just wanted to tell you a little bit about your recycling. So the glass, I know that's a big topic for you guys. Last year, you actually recycled 200 and almost 5 tons of glass, which is really good. So 1 ton of glass, just a fun fact, produces approximately 2 to 2,400 new bottles. So y'all made a real big impact in that. 1 ton covers approximately 20 to 25 square feet at a 4-inch depth of new roads, like a road base. And fiberglass, it can produce roughly 1,500 pounds of fiberglass insulation material. So you're doing good things. Of course, glass, I'm not saying that it's not the ideal commodity to be recycled, but there's a challenge with it. Just keeping it from the other glass, like when it's separated by color, it definitely becomes more valuable. And we do our best to, keep that separate. We have come a long way because one of the things that we hope to do this year is open our own processing facility. So we are underway with that right now. And the goal is August of 2026. Don't hold us to that because you know how permits go. But we just wanted to come and talk to you and let you know how much you mean to us and what can we do to make things better for you and the citizens of Weddington.
I just have one, because I know we talked about this earlier,
Mm-hmm.
is if we could have for the town to put on our website a basic little cheat sheet
Uh-huh.
of what you do and don't want in the plastic or paper recycling.
Okay.
Just something very, because I know there's a lot of products you don't want, and you either have to toss the whole mess away or, take a lot of time and expense to separate. Because I've heard a number of presentations from various recycling, be it at towns or whatnot, of what they do and don't want. And there's a lot of things you don't want because you just can't, it's very difficult to recycle certain plastic products and or paper that could be deemed soiled. It's very difficult. So something that is a bullet point, we want this, we don't want that, would be helpful that we could post on the website and send out to the residents.
We can do that. We can take it a step further for you guys too. And we've spoke with the manager about this and we're in the final stages. But one of the things that we would like to do is go ahead and send out a new calendar that addresses things like this, and it addresses your holidays, number one. It also addresses, what we do and do not take. And we're going to be more specific in it. It's not that we don't take it. We take it all, but if it becomes contaminated, sometimes it's just out the door. Like if paper becomes wet, there's really nothing we can do with it, but we do our best. So that's been kind of one of the things that we've been talking about. And we also are looking at, I think there are some maps on the website right now for routing and things like that, but we want to update all that. We hear you. We hear you. We hear the things that you're needing, and we try to stay on top of that.
So I am an avid recycler,
Mm-hmm.
but I also am very concerned. What am I wasting my time?
Mm-hmm.
Am I wasting more resources trying to get this clean to
Mhm.
make sure that it's applicable for you?
Right.
Literally, I have a box
Mhm.
of what I've been calling my trash, but it's semi-recycling stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think every time these are things, I'm like, this is a mixed product, right?
Yeah.
So is that allowed or not allowed? And I don't necessarily.
No, it's
I
not.
don't- So,
Mhm.
right, but
Mm-hmm.
as someone who wants
Doesn't
to do
know.
the right thing,
Yeah.
I have no resource
Mhm.
to find it, right? Like I know that this is a can, but it's lined, right? Is that
Yeah.
something that doesn't fall into the?
Well,
and so you
yeah.
start to with prospectuses. Do I need to open them? Throw out the paper separated from the plastic. I've spent hours of my life. I've spent weekends of my life. Really, and my time
Yes.
is worth something too. And so I'm not the only one. You compound that across this community.
Yeah.
And I think that it would behoove us to
Mhm.
to share that information as much as we can. So I would love to find out because I'm not the only one that needs to get educated.
Right, right. Well, we, like I said, there is there's a gray area, and we want to do as much as we can to eliminate that gray area. And we do take what you do. When you're recycling, it's not easy. Listen, I've been in this business for 30 years. The city of Winston-Salem, they had the first recycling program, and they started with this little 18-gallon bin. Well, even though I was in the trash business, I still wanted to throw it away. And my little 5-year-old daughter at the time was pulling it out and saying, wash this. So that's when it really came out for me. And you are making an impact. And we do need to save the landfill space in the landfills. I mean, we are limited on landfill space in North Carolina. So I appreciate your efforts. I appreciate your time and telling me what you need to know as a resident and a council person. So yeah, we will work on that.
So like a prospectus, do I need to sit there, rip them up and separate?
You don't need to separate, but if it is in a plastic, like if there's a plastic liner on it, like a book, a cover, then yeah, you would need to remove that.
So even though it says number 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what's inside of it is number 4. I mean, it's recyclable. Yeah. So it's just the outside liner. It's just like,
So anything that's mixed media too, right?
Yeah.
So like it's the envelopes that have the plastic.
Yes.
Paper and plastic together.
unless you want to take the time to rip out that yeah.
Sometimes I do, and sometimes
Yeah.
I don't, and that's where
It's very time consuming, and I appreciate you doing that. I really do. I mean,
And washing, do we need to be washing everything? We have
yes,
to wash everything.
it does help. It does.
So
Yes.
this already will save me much time in the future. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Anything else?
And I do have a question. One of the probably most frequent emails I get
Mhm.
from residents is, I use more plastic and Amazon boxes. I order a
Mhm.
lot from Amazon, get a lot of
Mhm.
that. So less glass and more, plastic and cardboard, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I know we're 2 and 2 per month.
Mhm.
Just planting a seed. I know we're sort of locked into a contract. At some point, I would like to investigate, the feasibility of going to like one glass and three of the
Mhm.
plastic cardboard type deal.
That
Because that's probably the biggest email I
Mhm.
get from residents. I use a lot more of the other, very little glass.
Well, I will tell you that glass is the least recycled item. It truly, it is. So you're headed in the right direction. And just because we have a contract doesn't mean we can't talk about it. So let's do that. Let's talk about it and see how we can improve things, because things are changing all the time. And, back there was like I guess, there were studies that came out and said that glass was the number one thing to recycle along with cardboard. And, it was like top 5, but it really is not the top 5 currently. The green glass is better. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's the reason you see more of that being recycled.
Okay. So maybe we can look at the feasibility of that without,
Yes. Let's talk
crazy
about it. There's nothing we can't
prices.
talk about.
Okay.
Let's improve it.
Okay.
Active
Okay.
Waste has been really great for my house anyway. And a quick story. I think my trash comes on Tuesday.
Hmm.
So before Easter, me and my husband carted out there on a Thursday.
Hmm.
And I looked in it and I said, "Did you forget to put the trash in the trash can?" Because it was empty, and they picked it up on a different day because it was out there.
We try to stay ahead of the game. Yeah, we really do. We try to stay ahead. I mean, trash is one of the most personal things that you offer here at this
Mhm.
town of Weddington, and we recognize that. So thank you for the compliment. We love to get those from time to time.
I would say there's one last thing that I said about from members in my community, and that's that glass container is so big compared to how much you actually recycle of the glass.
Mhm.
Is there any way it takes up so
Like,
much
it's-
space in the garage, right? And I understand the logistics.
It's as
Mhm.
small as it can be and be rolled around.
That's
That's
kind
the
Yeah.
problem.
Right.
Yeah. So I think,
It's bad for people.
yeah, we just need to explore it. If and the residents. So whatever you're hearing, let's adjust it as we need to. We're open for that.
Okay.
All right.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you so much for being
You're
here. And what was your
welcome.
name?
My name is Terry Hazelton, and I'm
Terry?
the Governmental Relations Solutions,
Okay.
and I'm very happy to be here.
Well, thank our questions. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here.
Okay. We're going to move into our consent agenda. We have the minutes, the retreat minutes from February 12th, the March 9th regular council minutes, the approval of the continued participation in the Union County Urban Forestry contract, and authorization, the authorized tax collector to charge off some 2004 property taxes. Can I get a motion to approve the
I
consent?
make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the one correction I made to the retreat minutes.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. Okay, passed unanimous. Old business. Discussion of environmental survey scope of work. And I think this is sort of a, Tom, is this your
Well,
wheelhouse?
yeah,
And we'll let Karen, should you start or Tom?
No, y'all.
No, you start.
Okay.
Well, I put this out there a while back and said we ought to examine this, because I look at it this way: we don't know what we don't know. We know what the state says you can do, restrictions on certain things, and the Corps of Engineers has
I'm
theirs.
going to stop you for a second. So the residents can do about what? You're talking about stormwater?
Oh,
or what?
it's about anything. It's development in general, be it stormwater, what they can bulldoze away, or how it impacts, the environment or whatnot. There's rules. There's state rules. There's federal rules. And I look at it in a situation, we have diverse topography. We have creeks. We have streams. We have lakes. We probably have plants and whatnot that may be endangered. We don't know we have them. We have no idea what we have in a lot of places. And I think we need to figure out what we have, or if we have very sensitive areas, can we put in stricter rules, if allowed, on certain areas to protect a stream bed or a wetland area, or make sure, we have to say, well, you can't do it if they get a Corps permit. I mean, I know, honestly, most of these builders with a national permit can over wetlands and they're offset somewhere that, somewhere else, and ours is gone. So can we do this? But we have to know what we have first, for sure. It's pretty obvious. The floodplain, we have those surveys. You don't have like from an environmental person, any recommendations from them of what we should be looking at. And part of this is one, scope, what do we have? And two, do they have recommendations of things we can do beyond the current UDO and current state or federal rules on certain things, if allowable? And that's what I want to find out. I want to find out what we can do to protect what we have as best we can.
So a study of the area,
Yeah.
of the whole town.
Yeah.
So I asked,
Basically the undeveloped area.
undeveloped areas.
Yeah.
So I asked, last year when we opened up the engineering on-call contracts, we had several selected firms. SWCA was one of them. Josh Allen.
You can use your mic so we can hear you.
It's
Or
too far away.
slide up.
So I asked Josh Allen from SWCA to come and talk about how to kick off a scope of work for an environmental survey for the undeveloped land. And that's his.
Because we don't know what we don't know.
Okay. Yep,
There's
coming up.
professionals that know this. That's the way I see it.
Josh?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Josh Allen, SWCA Environmental Consultants. Like Karen mentioned, we have an existing on-call contract with you guys, and SWCA, we're one of the preeminent environmental consultants in the country, and we have, I like to tell people, we have every single ologist you could possibly think of when it comes to the environmental world, and we are more than happy to put together some sort of scope of work to help you guys understand what it would cost to look at, not only from an engineering perspective, like you were talking about with like flood prone areas, areas that are maybe more prone to erosion, that sort of things, but then also in the natural environment, threatened and endangered species, areas that are more ecologically or environmentally sensitive. And the advantage to these types of studies is that they are relatively scalable. So depending on the budget that you have allocated for something like that, we can kind of make it work with the budget that you're given. And we can make it as detailed or as, 30,000 foot desktop level as is fit for what you guys are trying to accomplish.
I know this is a hard question, but how long does it take to do something like this for a town like this? For Weddington?
Best answer is it depends.
Again,
Yeah,
30,000.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like a desktop level assessment would probably take in the range of months. But then if you're actually having people on the ground doing actual delineations, doing threatened and endangered species surveys, et cetera, that would probably be more in the scale of like months to years.
Gotcha.
For an area such as the town of Weddington. But then, again, there's a hybrid approach where you could start at the desktop level, identify potential target areas that need to maybe be further investigated or investigated in more detail, and then zero in on those to help limit cost and time when it comes to having boots on the ground.
Okay.
Am I correct, Karen? There's ballpark 1,000 undeveloped acres in town.
That would be a question better
That's
for Greg.
That's a guess. Well, Greg, is that somewhere in the ballpark? I'm not trying to say, hard number, but
ballpark. I mean, there's the vacant property within the town limits is really centered around 3 or 4 kind of areas that are environmentally sensitive. Mundy's Run, and areas off of Providence is the most prominent example. And so there's probably like 4 chunks of land that are undeveloped due to topography or environmental constraints.
Right, because you have like, the developed neighborhoods and their set aside areas are not going to be developed. It's things that could have future development on them, I guess, is where our concern is, because that's where we can have control to ensure the least impact.
Probably one of the largest challenges I would see in a study such as this, it would be just interaction or engagement with private property owners, because obviously the entire town is not under the purview of the town, right? It's a privately owned, and so there would be a lot of coordination with private landowners that would be that would take time and could potentially be challenging.
Yep. Some may not want you on their property.
Exactly, and then in that case, we can only make certain guesses as to what's there, and could make that study a little less detailed, less accurate.
But then you say if we can't get access to certain things, you can make recommendations to
Absolutely.
us to require certain things to be done by the developers prior to development.
Absolutely.
To make sure that is the way I would.
In addition to our technical staff, we have what we call our environmental planning group, and they are experts at working on the policy side of the environmental world and engaging with the public and helping them understand not only why these things are important, but helping to come up with ordinances and policies to help enact and protect those things in the future.
Has there ever been anything done in regards to like a hybrid project? And what I mean by that is we have a public that's actively engaged, and they so people have reached out to me and said, "Oh, I think I saw this in my backyard," or like if have you ever worked on a project where like you kind of open it up to X number, to people in different neighborhoods? We try to filter what they have.
100%.
Use that as
Yep.
an opportunity to kind of input, and that may help also kind of alleviate.
We do
It
it.
may cause more work, but it could potentially also ease some of the burden.
We work with I used to be the North Carolina Office of Resiliency, then now under the Department of Environmental Quality, but their Resilient Coastal Communities Program, all that the BIL money that's being funded down through the state to help with these distressed and underserved coastal communities with sea level rise and climate change and the like. We engage with them. It's a 4-phase process where we start with community engagement, bringing people together, and this is more on the resiliency side, like where do you see flooding? Where are your critical routes affected? When it rains, how do you have trouble getting around town, that sort of thing. And we then create heat maps based on that information, and all that user input is valuable because these people have lived in these communities forever, right? And so that information is priceless, and it can really help save a lot of money and time.
I know
Is
I'm on-
continuous
but
tree
go on.
canopy your wheelhouse, or urban forestry, or?
I'm an ecological engineer, so I work mostly in waterways, wetlands, rivers, lakes, that sort of thing. But I do have people that I work with that are deal with they're botanists and forestry experts and the like.
No, I'm saying I've been on several state boards and still am on some that, I know about the coastal habitat program they do on the ways down there. Programs to be smart with development on how to limit runoff getting into those waters down there.
Absolutely.
How to have more stuff go into the ground, just all sorts of various things. So there's a huge amount of work can be done if put in a thoughtful manner,
Yes.
intentional, thoughtful manner.
Absolutely.
To improve the environment.
I was part of the Union County their 2050 comprehensive plan, and I was on the stormwater committee. And
Well, we're on the
yeah, we were there together. Yeah, and again, that fine line between we still need houses, we still need places, gas stations, Walmarts, that kind of thing. But like that fine line of creating that balance between protecting these ecological and natural resources that we have, making sure that we're taking care of the folks downstream, but then also not being so prohibitive that you can't develop anything. Yeah, that's a very important thing.
Well, I'm going to ask council, are you good with directing the staff to look into this and give us options, pricing, and what level we need to be at?
Last, it was November-ish, somewhere around there. I gave you kind of a scale of, really high level, desktop level assessments, and then all the way down to kind of more detailed. But you'd be happy to expand upon that and, go further into detail.
And it is reflected in our budget, that's correct, which is obviously scalable pending July 1st.
Okay.
This is something we've considered the past calendar year.
Okay, so council, are we good with that, to give directive to the council, to the staff rather? Okay, and just come back with options, pricing and
Go
what
into
level?
the budget.
Okay.
As a resident of Weddington myself, I'm absolutely vested and committed in protecting our natural resources. So not only is my job, but I live here as well. So
Cool. Any other questions right quick? Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Josh, thank you so
Have a
much.
great evening.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The next item for discussion is the consideration of the website redesign contract. And Karen, I'm gonna let you talk about this, but really the reason we're doing this, we're sort of being forced to do this. And by the feds. And so we're looking at it. We've got it narrowed down to 2. And I'm gonna let you talk about this. And I'll be the first one to say it is so hard to use our website. I do feel like it's outdated. And sometimes when you go on and you try to Google the UDO, and you'll come up with a UDO from like 10 years ago or 5 years ago.
That's the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
The internet.
And so that's why I've asked you to put the current UDO on our home page on that little bar there. So I know we've had developers look at the wrong UDO and come in here and they're like, I don't know what they're talking about because it's totally wrong.
Yeah.
So anyway, it would be nice to upgrade this and to and do this. So but go ahead. I'm rambling on.
So this is primarily for a restructure of the website, not necessarily the content. That's something that will come after we go into contract to bring the website up to ADA accessibility standards that we are required to do by next April. And I've got Civic Plus and Revise proposals. And they are alike and different in too many ways.
Yeah,
They are.
I'm going to ask you, which one are you more comfortable with, and feel like we're a handful of people here, so we don't have time to manage and dive into these complex websites.
I've worked with Civic Plus on other programs that they have, other software, and Revise seems pretty straightforward as well. So it's as far as my comfort level, I think either way, it's a technical thing. That's the old dog is going to have to learn the new tricks anyway. I do think Revise might fit our needs better, just as a smaller town with smaller staff. That said, they're both reputable companies, and
I can just tell you personally what I did is I also started to look at different towns' websites, looked at what seemed a little more user-friendly for me, and that kind of gave me a sense. And then I started to dig into, this person, this group I liked, that, and who do they use? And so that kind of helped me narrow down, and that was my process. So, and to me, I went on the more Civic Plus side of things.
No, and I will say I've been in technology for 40 something years because of the business I'm in, and sometimes you can buy all the bells and whistles, but do you need all the bells and whistles for where we're at?
Right.
And I know Civic Plus, it's cool, it's nice, and it can make your coffee in the morning, but with a small staff, small town, if we and this is just my input. I was leaning more toward Revise, their option 2, which includes a little bit more closer to Civic Plus, but not the expense of Civic Plus. And that was the way I was leaning. Guys, any comments from the rest of
I
you?
agree with Simple. I mean, I think that we can make it very user friendly, and they tell any business the more simple the better, because people just don't use all the extras.
Right.
One question, did you by chance contact any of the,
I did not. The towns that they use the
yeah,
other.
because they all recommended various towns or whatnot.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if they recommended them, I can.
well, they were
Sure,
big
you can
towns and
follow up,
smaller
but-
towns. I mean, the bigger one had some smaller towns and some bigger towns and vice versa. So it was a mix. And
Yeah, but if they
I looked at a number of websites and they all look pretty nice. But my son's one of these head of AI somewhere, and I couldn't pronounce it. And he just said this stuff is progressing rapidly every year, and going honestly probably with a simpler, lower cost item now may be preferable, because in a few years you might be able to do a whole lot more and cheaper than this is evolving so fast.
Right.
He said, don't spend a fortune on something you're invested in, because in 4 or 5 years you can who knows what you can do for be so much better than what it is today. and you won't be so far invested. That's just
No, and I totally agree.
that point of view.
Um,
But I did like the idea of the little AI chatbots. I'm sorry.
yeah, which would be option 2. with
Which would be
devices.
option 2, but they both have them, but
Right.
it would,
You can add that.
Yeah.
Anything.
To me, the cost difference for the size town, our tax rate, I'm all about. My biggest thing is how much it's going to cost us, and trying to keep costs down.
and the main thing is we have to do this because of the federal mandate for ADA compliance.
Right,
So
right.
it isn't like we're just doing this because we want to have a new website. We have to have a totally new website. And while we're doing it, we need to just make ours incrementally better at the same time for probably not much more you can't fix what we have.
Correct.
That's the problem. You can't fix what we have. You have to start again.
Right. And this is just a provider. I'll say it that way. We'll get into whoever we select.
The details.
The details of, we need a page for this. We need a section for that, that kind of thing. That comes later. We just got to decide on who we're going to go with. Then we'll add in all the others.
Yeah.
I was reminded of that the other day
Yeah.
because I was throwing out ideas already.
Yeah. And the public should have ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what do they want inside this scope of things?
Right.
Yeah. What is user friendly? Not what do they want to see? I think that's pretty simple. Simple ask.
Do you have I'll ask you a preference?
Scratching my head.
Okay. No preference. It sounds like,
I did like what Tom said about perhaps, ordinarily, you get what you pay for, and I've been disappointed every time I went the cheap route, but given Tom's explanation that things are improving rapidly, that maybe it may be best to go the least expensive way and still be compliant with what we have to be compliant with.
You can add stuff too later.
Yeah, exactly right. And
So-
the way I was looking at it too, when I was reading and comparing, I read a couple times through these things. If we were a large municipality and we had different departments and water department and all this, I could see Civic Plus, and if our tax rate was higher, because that is a good bit more, then okay, I could see that. But I don't think it's us.
Yeah. I mean, when this was not with my son, but with another presentation I was at not long ago, the guy just pulled up his phone and said, okay, you have ChatGPT on your phone, free one even, and the version that's out there that you have, there's going to be a new version in a month or something like that, that is going to take the same information you're putting in there right now and do it 100 times faster and 10 times cheaper to whoever. And it's going exponential. Every one of these things coming out is going exponential. And so I think we'll have opportunities to add stuff in the future. And I think not going too heavy. And we're a small town. We don't need to have things where, we don't have the departments that Civic Plus can incorporate and do all their work in. That's just my personal opinion. This is pretty simple, basic, economical for
I'm not
us.
tech, so don't look at me.
Yeah, economical for us. And I don't know if they can do automatic permitting for you, Greg, or not. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, I see these ads come to me all the time, say, add this in, you can do automatic building permits or something like that. I don't know if we want that or not, but you can find all sorts of things. But I'm just of the mindset, let's go with the lower cost of the two, more basic service, even though it is very close, but not quite to the same. And it seemed like they were going to work with us well. I believe we'll be okay.
The two representatives that I've been talking with have both been very patient and understanding. And so we wouldn't lose either way. The biggest thing for me was the pricing stability with Revise. We're capped at for 5 years. And Civic Plus puts it right out there. They're going to increase it 5% a year.
Yeah.
So that's
Annually, that's a lot.
Yeah. And Revise will do a free upgrade within 4 years, I believe it is.
So it was just, I hate to say it all comes down to the money, but I I guess that's part of my job.
We're a town of 15,000, not 150.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Right, exactly.
the way I look at it.
My,
If we got to spend the money, I would spend what we need to be compliant and
right,
reasonably good.
right. I would suggest option 2 with revised. That would be my 2
Yeah.
cents. Would we be in agreement with that?
With the
Yeah,
chatbot, I think Tom really liked the chatbot.
Yeah. And,
I
and
do.
that-
I think
yeah.
you'll look into it because
And the chatbot won't send you to the 2020 version of the UDO. The
Yes.
chatbot will bring you the.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
You come in and say, I need this, and hopefully it is supposed to take you to the right version
Right.
of, the land use plan, the UDO. Here is the permit, page. Here is what the permit you wanted, not a list of 10,000 permits. The whole thing.
Right,
As long as
right.
we keep it all updated, we're good.
Okay. Do you need a vote on this or just direction?
This is a vote, isn't it?
I do need a vote
Okay.
to move forward with revised, but I don't have, I didn't print out the contract in front of me, so I don't have the amount, of the contract.
Well, we saw the numbers in
Yeah.
the packet.
It's in the
Yeah,
packet.
It is.
Yeah, we saw that.
Okay.
I make a motion, we do revive with the chatbot.
Option 2.
Option 2.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. So we'll go revise option 2.
If it goes bad, everybody can blame me.
We'll throw you under the bus.
Throw me under the bus.
We'll be
Okay.
in that bus, under that bus together, Tom.
Okay.
Just don't roll back and forth too many times.
One question would be, moving forward, at what point would we be,
I'll find out and let you
Before
know.
April.
Oh, you mean implementing it?
Yeah.
He did give me a timeline, and it's probably about 6 to 8 months, 6 to 9
Yeah,
months.
go ahead.
okay,
I'd probably suggest too, that maybe we do some usability testing before we launch. with
Oh,
our
It's all
team,
part,
No,
it's
that's-
all
just to make
part.
sure.
Oh, and they do that. That's
always-
part
they
of
do
it.
that. That's standard. Yeah, we
Okay.
gotta.
But I'm saying we
should
we
be
need
good
to test
users.
drive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we-
need to
we
be
will.
good stewards.
Okay, all right, you guys good? We'll move
Yeah.
forward.
Yes, sir.
The new business here was CZ 2026-02, this application by Toll Brothers for conditional zoning, approval for development of a 39-lot subdivision at 5017 Weddington Matthews Road. Because of a public notice error that we have with the town here, we're not going to be able to move forward on this. We also noted, we're not going to be able to move forward with this tonight. We did see as the staff and also Labella, some discrepancies that, that need to be looked at and worked out. I have a letter, an email from from Chris Falk, our planning board chairman. And, Chris, you're here. Would you like to come up and read what you stated, or would you rather me read it? If you're here. Okay. Chris sent me this today, and I'll read this, and then we're gonna move on past this. But it says, "Dear Mayor and staff, as chairman of the planning board, I am writing regarding to the proposed subdivision currently under your consideration. Upon review of this evening's agenda materials, I have identified several significant concerns related to stormwater management and compliance with the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, NCDEQ requirements. As reflected in recent correspondence with NCDEQ, the current proposal does not clearly demonstrate compliance with applicable standards for either low density or high density stormwater treatment. This matter was specifically raised as a condition during the planning board's review of the project. Based on materials submitted, it is my opinion that this condition has not yet been satisfied, and therefore the project is not ready to proceed to council deliberation and vote in this current form. Key concerns remain regarding the proposed use of vegetated conveyances, limitations on impervious surface areas, and the absence of a comprehensive, clearly defined strategy for managing stormwater runoff across all lots. Given the importance of these issues to both regulatory compliance and long-term site performance, the planning board believes that additional technical revisions and clarification are necessary for the proposal before the proposal can be responsibly advanced. Accordingly, we respectively request that the town council remand this item on the planning board for further by board and ensure that all regular prior to any final decision. And this is again from Chris, our chairman of the planning board. We also got a letter too from Toll Brothers today requesting that they go back to request to go ahead and do that. We're here as a representative. We're not going to discuss this. There's no discussion tonight. But if you want to say something, short, you're more than welcome to come up. If not, we're good. Oh, you're good. Okay. So it's my opinion that we that again, and it's the council's opinion, I believe too, because we had discrepancies and we saw errors and things that we did not agree with. That this go back to the planning board as well. So so with that, I'm going to leave it to the staff to work that out.
Hey, Jim,
Pardon me?
can I ask Karen Walter a question first?
Sure. Mhm.
Karen, since we did not meet the required deadline for citizen notification, are we legally able to send this back to the planning board as it stands tonight, or are we going to have to properly post the meeting and then send it back to the planning board?
Great question. So at this point, the council does not have authority to actually vote on the matter because the public hearing has not been held. However, so you all cannot tonight take a vote and require that they go back to planning board. But it sounds like Toll Brothers has heard the concerns and is voluntarily going to take this back through staff and planning board. And so that does not create a procedural problem. So that is exactly how it can work. You all can work through that. So Toll Brothers has agreed to take it back through the process to get these issues resolved. Then that's what will happen next.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're on solid legal ground.
Right, and
Yes, sir.
we are.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure we were, but now I am sure.
Yeah, no, thank you. Good question. Thank you, Clayton.
Voluntary request and
Yes, and we have it from us and them and the staff. And I'll also request too from the staff that this be worked out and not, and this is just my opinion, my request, okay? That this not be because of concerns from the planning board, from our engineering, from the council, that this not be, rushed through and say, hey, we've got to have it to the, April planning board meeting, that maybe, we take our time, we make sure, because I don't want to be kicking this can back and forth down the road till we make sure we get everything worked out. So, we're good to go. We have all our I's dotted and T's crossed. And so I would suggest, earliest, this is just my suggestion, would be May for me. So just to make sure we're all good and not rush through this, because last thing I want is planning board having to take time and it's still not, we need this, we need that, and they're not happy, that kind of thing. Does that make sense where I'm going with this?
Yeah. I would say as a council person, when this thing comes to us, there were a number of conditions the planning board put on there. They wanted that all of that is resolved. It's all done in the package. No more, you need this, you need this. It comes as a full, we're ready to go, bow tie type proposition to us, because I can't read 50 or 60 pages of flow water, whatever that stuff
yeah,
was.
HydroCAD. I'm not up on my HydroCAD.
Whatever. I'm not prepared to do that. I don't know what it says. I want somebody to tell me from DEQ and Labella that this works. This will work. And that's what I want to see, not a volume, trees killed, but virtually to exhibit something to me. And any of the other issues that were brought up that the planning board said, condition this, condition that, whatever, because there was a whole list of them. Make it all be incorporated all done in the package.
Right.
And we'll have a nice package to review without questions. And it hopefully meets every one of our UDO requirements.
No, it is also staff's recommendation to send it back to the planning board so they can affirmatively tell you that it met all of those conditions.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
very good.
Darcy, do you have something?
No, I just fully agree.
Yes, okay.
I'm
Uh,
so tired of getting things that,
We killed virtual trees tonight is what we did with this package.
Okay.
We can't get it to print, but.
I know you don't want to print it.
Okay,
You don't have enough paper to put in a printer. to
okay.
print it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take this off the agenda.
It's off, yeah.
Not yet. So can I get a motion to remove this from the agenda?
Give a motion to remove
Is
this
that,
from
is that the
today's
proper way to do
agenda.
this, Karen Walter?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
yes, it is.
so we're going to, you made a motion to remove this from the
Remove
agenda?
from the agenda.
Okay.
And then to go back to the.
Well, we don't need that yet.
Yeah.
So
No,
just,
just to remove it from the agenda is all we need tonight.
Perfect.
right, staff will take care of the rest.
All right.
Can I, all in favor, to remove it from the agenda? All in favor, so we're removing this from the agenda tonight, and we're moving forward. Okay? All right, so thank you for coming anyway. Okay?
You're ending up where you wanted to be.
this table's too big.
Oh, here,
It is
Okay.
getting candy time.
yeah, okay.
I'll pass it around.
Okay, so we're moving on to item B. It's text amendment 0126-I, section D, 607C. It's conditional rezoning. And Greg, I'm going to let you take off with that before we move into public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. There's two text amendments before you this evening. I think both of them are pretty straightforward. They were previously separated as individual ordinances when they went to the planning board. I thought it'd be procedurally more efficient to bundle them based on where they're located in the code. This section before you is located in Article 6, which is basically the procedures for zoning cases. This amendment in section D607 under the conditional zoning section, which basically all of our rezoning is conditional zoning, is just somewhat of a grammatical error, but it adds an exhibit for the aid of both our staff, our council, and our applicants. So this section references in section 1, step 1, this D901 section. Long story short, that section doesn't exist. So it's referencing something that's not relevant. That has been replaced with referencing D917B, which we'll talk about in a moment, and a table 8D, which would be a new exhibit to our code. That was a visual aid created by our permit technician and planning assistant that shows basically the two routes you have when developing property. So all vacant land in the town of Weddington is zoned R-CD, but that means that you could develop it in one of two ways when it's raw land. This provides a link to this table 8D that shows those two procedures and how to do that. This is ultimately what the planning board worked through and landed on in terms of kind of that aid, which would be that new table. Again, 8D, there's a table 8A, B, and C. This will be a new edition 8D. And it just says you can develop land in one or two ways. So removing a section that doesn't make sense, referencing our kind of conditional zoning and actually conservation sections in D917B, and then adding to our text a table 8D as referenced in your packet.
Okay. All right, and I'm going to open this up for a public hearing. Okay, we're open for public hearing. There is no one here that's signed up, so I'm going to close public hearing. This is for technical. Okay, public hearing is closed. Discussion and consideration of this. Anyone have any comments?
No,
Straightforward.
Straightforward, okay?
it's straightforward. It makes sense. And yes, Greg, I am correct that basically all sizable vacant land in the town is zoned RCD, which is the conservation allowable land, correct?
Correct,
But
yeah.
you can develop it as R40 as one of those options.
Yeah, as long as you've got 6 or more acres, you've got 2 ways to develop it. If you got less than 6 acres, it's just the straightforward 1 acre.
1 acre, that's it.
Okay.
That is the way the zoning is in town.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. Do you have I don't have the statement of land use
We
consistency.
got to make a motion, a technical motion, and approve it.
Yeah.
I make a
Okay.
motion, we approve the amendment as stated.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, she passed. So statement of land use consistency can
Somebody read it.
That's in the packet.
It's attached.
It's in the packet.
Okay. Does it need to be read?
Make a motion to approve it as presented by
I
staff.
make a motion to approved in the package. as
Okay.
stated.
And I will copy it over into the minutes.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, all in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, and guys, we're just cleaning up UDO is what we're doing. We're just, seeing stuff that it just needs to be cleaned up, and this is what we're doing tonight. Text Amendment 0-2026-2, Section D, 917A, G, private roads and gatehouses. D 917B, L, design standards specific to conservation lands. D 917E, D, lots in floodplains. Greg, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'll be super brief on this. These are basically grammatical errors that we're addressing. These are all in Article 9 of the UDO, which is basically our rules and procedures for developing any piece of property anywhere, not just conservation lands or major subdivisions. Any piece of property in town falls under this section D 917A. D 917B is specific to conservation lands, and D 917E is specific to conventional development. But it's all the same thematic section of code, just how you develop land. The section D 917A is just referencing Exhibit 2B because we have new additional stricter standards. So rather than making it go back to the planning board again or having it as an administrative review, it's just saying it has to be part of the initial submittal, kind of common sense change. The section D 917B removes any ambiguous language. It removes the reference to the greatest extent feasible. And it also adds more explicit language on existing trees counting towards the neighborhood green. This is kind of a direct result of the last revision that the town council approved. And then D 917E is the easiest of all. The word basement is referenced twice. You're removing it.
Yeah.
So it's only referenced once. And that's as straightforward as it can be.
Okay, all right, okay. Open up for public hearing, and no one signed up, so we're going to close public hearing, okay? Public hearing is closed. Discussion and consideration.
These all make sense. I did when I was reading the thing first time about basement. It scared me until I went back and saw it was twice.
Yeah, yeah.
So I said, my God, they want to put basements in floodplains. It scared the hell out of me. But I saw that it was a duplicate and removal, so my heart attack went away. And Bill had sent me a text on
Or
it. So,
the wiggle language of.
yeah, the wiggle language.
Yeah.
Makes sense for all of us
Yeah.
to get rid of the wiggles.
They're
Yeah.
going to do it. That
Yeah.
is the simple thing to do. So,
No, and I'd asked the subcommittee, Bill's chairman, to take out all this, could, should, feasible, and that kind of thing. And
this
they've
is
been
the
doing,
first work of it.
yeah, exactly. They've been doing a great, excellent job at that. So thank you
And I just
for
have one
doing that.
question, Greg. I know there was stuff approved at the last planning board that hadn't come, that will come to us next month.
That'll come next month.
Has more, but probably more teethy type things.
Yeah, this is the easy stuff. We'll have more substantive changes
And the
next month.
slope will be done too.
We don't know. That hadn't gone through yet.
That's still under discussion.
Okay.
But there's other things in floodplains and primary conservation and things like that we're going to be seeing.
So there were several other text amendments that were recommended by the planning board in their last meeting. So yes, more to come.
I look forward to seeing them.
Yep.
Any discussion on this before we move to get a motion? Can I get a motion to
We
approve?
approve the amendments as stated.
Okay, all in favor? It's okay, it's unanimous. Can I get a motion to approve the the statement of land use
Make a
consistency?
motion to approve the land use consistency as stated in the package.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. We'll move forward. Discussion of new text amendments, section D 917 D A, agricultural uses of chicken coops. And we got a little bit of that sound from Debbie tonight, I think. But, but go ahead, Karen, if you want to comment on this. Was that something?
Well, staff has received several
The staff and
phone
council.
calls and comments and about the the standards for the agricultural buildings that house poultry close to the property lines. Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, in layman's terms, everybody's allowed to have chickens already in code. We actually provide very broad protections for agricultural use in the town of Weddington because a lot of people have more than 1 acre. And so we allow them the use of agricultural lands by rights as well as the use as a residence by right. What's strictly put in the code under agricultural uses is that the structures that house those animals have to be 150 feet away from the property line. And again, if you have multiple acres, that's not an issue. But if somebody wants to have just a couple of chickens in their backyard, that 150-foot setback requirement for that structure can be fairly restrictive.
Well,
And
it can't work.
right there, it could limit it. It could effectively prohibit that use, which is a taking. So we just want to explore maybe allowing that closer to the property line, but this is a discussion. We haven't provided a text amendment to the planning board on this matter yet.
My understanding, what I see is we allow 6 hens. If a property can have 6 hens, no roosters is what allowed. A lot of people have chickens around. They have it in my neighborhood, the neighborhood behind me. I do hear one rooster every now and then, so I don't call Greg on that though. But it makes sense that if most of our residential homes are 1 acre, and if you have, let's say, what's the minimum lot width on a lot? 140, 50 feet?
That's pretty close, yes.
Yeah, there's no way to build a chicken coop of any size.
Right.
So long as you're building my thought is a chicken coop, and you have no more than 6 chickens, hens, you should be able to be allowed to build a modest size, to be determined, coop to house them in to keep the raccoons and whatever from killing them when they're not out, if they even ever get out. Should be allowable. People like chickens; they're not harmful, especially hens. And I would say that we need to find accommodation of. There has to be some setback from the property lines to be reasonable, but at the same time, this is not the intent of having somebody have a chicken farm like you see on the road with thousands of chickens in it. This is something to accommodate 6 chickens. That's what I think we're looking for. Wouldn't you say, Greg?
Yeah, a pool only has to be 15 feet off the property line. An accessory structure only has to be 15 feet off that line. Even an accessory dwelling only has to be the setbacks of your home, which is 40 feet off the property line off the back, but still only 15 feet off the side. So, you could have 20 sheds in your backyard and there still can't have any chicken coops.
Chicken coop. And chicken coops are not big for 6 chickens. I mean, we're not talking about building giant chicken houses here. And I don't think there's, with the other restriction for 6 chickens, there's no way to do a chicken farm per se in town, correct? If they wanted to do one, they couldn't do it.
I would argue that a true
Chicken farm.
Chicken farm is pushing industrial use, which we would not allow in
We
town.
would not allow, and it go with the 6 chicken limit anyway.
Mm.
So
So let me ask you this.
find a certain size that's permissible and reasonable setback, and I think we'll be, I'd be happy.
How do we deal with, I was going to say, free roaming chickens? So, you're like, I'm going to let them roam. And now they're in the neighbor's pool area and they're all over everywhere in the street and whatnot. How do we deal with that?
That would fall under kind of code enforcement and nuisance as far as animal rules.
You can shoot them in Union County. I don't suggest you do that.
Basically, every thing that you do on your private property is not to impact your adjoining neighbors. So anything that crosses your property line on your neighbor's property line, is a nuisance to your neighbor.
So what does a resident do when that happens? Who does a resident call?
Call the chicken guy.
Call the
There's
chicken
animal
owner.
control.
Animal
chicken owner
control?
and say,
Or
"You
just
get your
pick up the
chicken."
hen and take it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Union County Animal Control?
Yeah.
Okay,
Basically, shoo them off your property, they'll go away.
yeah, but my mom has a neighbor who has chickens,
Yeah.
and she has a fence. They fly over the fence,
they
they're on
will.
their back porch, they're everywhere, and it's like, oh my gosh.
I'll say
Shoot
this,
'em.
the neighborhood hawk will take care of them if they're out too much, so,
Chickens up.
you know,
Okay.
they will not have a longevity if they run too far.
So what are you requesting from us? Just a direction
Guidance
to
to-
look into this?
I think I have all the direction I need, I believe, based on this conversation. This was raised by a citizen who provided public comment. I've got opinions now from several members of the council. I will recommend, with the assistance of the planning board, a more reasonable number from 150 to have that setback.
You may want to think about limiting the size to some reasonable number if you're gonna do this.
I wouldn't.
But per our discussion about the super easy technical amendments we
Yeah.
just had, we're going to try to bundle these as
Yeah,
best we
because you
can.
have
I
an
hope.
existing
Bundle.
amendments, bundle.
I can't wait till the day when all of our public comments are, so-and-so's chicken was on my property.
Yeah. You ain't kidding.
I hope that's our problem.
I had a neighbor, used to have chickens that came on my property. I didn't care. They didn't go in my backyard because the dogs would kill them. But they came in the front yard. I didn't care. They gave me eggs from time to time, so I was very happy.
If this is the worst complaint I get, I will be very happy.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, so we're good to move on from there?
Yes,
Are
sir.
we good?
the
Okay,
chicken's over.
the chicken's over.
Has flown the coop.
We're moving into the architectural standards. Yeah, I know. Got it in
The
my
chicken
mind.
standards.
The chicken standards, but the architectural standards, as Whittington grows and, and the value of our homes and the status of our town, I feel like we have a right and an obligation to have standards in town instead of saying just, come build what you want, it's okay as long as your water doesn't run into the neighbor's yard. Build what you want. I disagree with that mindset. I feel like we're trying to just strive to bring value to the town. I'm always value driven. Where when somebody builds something, it should add value to the surrounding neighbors, where they're excited about what you build. It increases their property value. It doesn't decrease. It actually even adds value and revenue to the town through taxes, and it's something that's going to withstand the longevity of the neighborhood and not 15, 20 years run down. It's like what's going on here. So I'd like to have something that when a developer comes in, and Greg and I have talked about this a good bit, to where we can present, here's what we like to see, here's what the town would like to see. If a developer, goes for it, then that's great. We can't, under North Carolina state law, say, it's either this or go home. We can't do that. But we can at least say, hey, this is what we'd like to see in town. This is, what, the residents would like. And I'll go as far as saying, if you, come do something here, then you're going to have a much better chance of people liking and being behind your product. And so I've started suggesting, several things that I have suggested, and I'm going to quit rambling and want you guys to speak into it. Is crawl spaces, no more slab developments, crawl space homes, side
Or basements.
Oh yeah, basements. Yes.
Crawl
Mhm.
space or basement, yeah.
Crawl space or basements. A side entry garage, Now, that little third garage, it's,
Courtyard.
that courtyard garage, that's okay, as long as your main garages are in, it's side entry. And I'm real big on, not having just total, I'd like to see more three-sided brick, stone, stucco type deal instead of having these developments that just look like an all siding development, with,
White siding
a
development.
white siding development, or this house is blue, yellow, green, purple, that kind of thing. I'd like to see more, at least three sides of brick, stone, or stucco to that, to that degree. And also, as Chad mentioned earlier tonight, which is a great idea, some developments have that exposed foundation, and so I totally agree with his idea of
They should be
covered that, that exposed foundation area down there, which makes it looks nicer. Those would be my four main areas that we could present to, and I'm going to let you guys talk here in a second, that we present to the developer when he comes in and does his application. We can do that. Now, in speaking with Karen Walter, our attorney, who she couldn't be with us, she's on, as you know, she's on Zoom tonight. This is quite common. She gave me an example in, I think it's Cramerton, several years ago. They went for 2 years through design and architectural standards because there was a large development coming into town, and it was going to, it could just scope of their town. And so they spent a long time hammering out their architectural standards. So this is not something that's uncommon, but it's something I feel like we need to be more vigilant in doing and upping our standards of our town and what's being built here, if that makes sense. Can I get input from you guys? And it's not I would say it's not illegal because it's done in other towns.
Well, I'm not suggesting
Can I,
it's illegal.
oh, sorry. Can I just say something really quickly
Sure.
on this topic? So the concept here is that architectural residential standards would be part of a conditional zoning, one of the conditions in the conditional zoning. And all of those would have to be agreed to by both the developer and the town. So this is not something that we can put in our UDO.
Right.
We are not allowed to regulate architectural standards for residential houses anymore in North Carolina. So this would be sort of laying the table for anybody coming into town to say, this is what, hey, these are some conditions we are asking you to consider on your way into town, just so you know where we are as a council and what we're looking for. These are town priorities. So I just wanted to make it clear that this is not an update or a amendment to the UDO, but rather something that we would just be presenting developers early in a project to see if you could get their agreement on these architectural features for any project they were bringing forward.
So I think of it like the council mayor wish list. Is that kind of what you would, do you agree with that?
Yeah, that works. Yep.
Okay, so Karen, you and I had a brief conversation. That one of the things I thought would be helpful and interesting to me is I also, tree canopy is very important to many members here on council. And I had a conversation with Keith O'Haron, who is our Union County arborist. And I would love to add something along these lines, not necessarily it's not an architectural standard, but it's maybe a developer request. I don't know how to label it, but it would be, can we have 2 oaks per front yard or something? And that, so it creates canopy over. And Keith said that he could potentially recommend a list of 6 or 8 trees that they can pick from, that at least they're not completely, again, this is voluntary to participate in, but that's something that I think would look beautiful in the long run and continue to add value to neighborhoods in our town.
We require trees now. I think it's
trees, but they're not trees that can become heritage trees.
I know.
Right?
What I'm saying is we could look at changing that ordinance separate from what we're doing here and require those type of trees to be in the front yards or wherever it may be.
That may be harder to do, I don't know.
Upgrade our
I would love to.
our
There'd be a
tree planting
UDO change.
requirements, UDO change, that's a separate issue, but it's doable, very doable, and we should do it because you look at it, you go to places in Charlotte where they planted those willow oaks 100 odd years
Yes.
ago. That's what you have now.
It's stunning.
It's stunning, and if you don't plan now, you'll never have.
Exactly.
That's the simple
Right.
part of it. You'll have a tree that grows
30 years.
30
then it
years
dies.
and dies, and what do you have? You have nothing.
Nothing.
Best
Yeah,
time to
firewood.
plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now.
Yeah,
Right.
and we don't have Bradford pears.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so,
I think that's a different
okay.
request, correct, Greg?
Yes, sir. We have the tree plantings for 2 in the front yard and 4 in the back right now, but it could be any species on the Union County Arborist list. We could tighten that up to say it has to be a particular species.
Okay.
See if you can ask Keith O'Haron to make recommendations of what those trees should
Give
be.
me a list already.
Yeah,
It's on the
So I'm ready.
website too.
Yeah, get them.
I got it. I'll
Let's
send
look
it
at
on.
updating our UDO to mandate
Incorporate.
those
Yes.
versus other junk.
So we're all clear. We can regulate trees. We cannot regulate aesthetics of residential buildings
Right.
unless we
Yes.
have a voluntary
This is easier.
agreement.
Correct.
Right.
This
Okay.
is easier to do. We can say,
Okay.
we're gonna use these types of trees.
Great.
And basically, you would probably say, you may think of that
Mhm.
maybe all the front yard be the same type trees or
Exactly.
something like that to give continuity.
Right.
But they're all gonna be good hardwood, long-lived hardwoods.
Yes.
But you
Okay.
have a list?
Yes,
Is
I
that
have a
good
list.
direction?
I'll pass that on. And I wholeheartedly agree with where you're going with this, Jim.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think from an architectural standpoint, it makes sense. It provides a certain level of quality among our town. So thank
Okay.
you.
And I'll say this, I fully agree. I know we have had some preliminary meetings with several developers, and we have preached this to them, to bring your A game, bring your best quality products. Do not bring us slab homes. Do not bring us siding homes. Bring us stone, brick, whatever, to make it look like a true upscale. Don't do yourself a favor, because in this town, you can sell better homes, and don't think you have to try to skimp on siding and whatever it may be.
Not siding. Good Lord, no.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'm
Don't
just
skip by
kidding.
trying to use,
I'm just kidding.
white siding. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, we don't want that. That is
Yeah.
not our town.
Yeah.
So-
Clayton and Darcy, any comments?
No, I'm good with it. Like I said, thank you, Karen, for the clarification about it not being mandatory. I didn't think it could be
It's an
mandatory.
list of expectations.
Yeah, I'm fine with that list of expectations and give it to the developer early on. I just hope that the town understands that it's not something we can mandate.
Right.
Right.
And I think we've sort of conveyed that to everyone that we, state law, we can't do that. But I'm just trying to increase the value. So, if a development is being built next to your development to your home, it's going to add value to you, your homes in the area. So it's not going to pull down and have a developer come in and build something that's going to be subpar to what you've already owned. And I'm trying to force higher value homes. Does that makes sense?
Yeah.
So as you smile at me over there, I'm not sure what that means, but so do you? So Greg or Karen, do you have that list? Do I need to read those 4 areas that I'm concerned about?
I have noted, yeah, crawl spaces, side entry garages, 3-sided masonry preferable, and then as Chad Emery noted, exposed foundations.
Covered up.
Yeah, specifically.
No exposed cover.
Yeah.
Cover them up.
Yeah, sign regards for crawl space, three
Yeah,
side.
That goes for crawl space and/or basements. The most egregious are basements that are left that way, where they're concrete block and somebody kind of painted them over. That's horrendous.
And Karen Walter has the specific precedent of the town of Cramerton, which we will explore and base our our wish list off of.
Yeah, no, exactly.
This was, and by the way, this was just that was an example of a giant subdivision that had upwards of 100 conditions on the whole project. So, and architectural features of the homes being one, and those were voluntarily agreed to by the developer. So just the clarification on that.
Yeah. And so Greg,
project.
that's 3-sided brick, stone, stucco, that kind of thing. Okay. At least 3 sides. Okay. All right. So we're good. We're good with that conversation, guys?
Yep.
Okay. Let's move forward. Engineer review of projects prior to planning board. What I think what the council is looking for, and I think Greg, you agree, and you're doing this now, is prior to the developer coming to the planning board, is go ahead and have our engineering company, Labella, to send it to them. Get just an overall. Don't dig in and all of just do a cursory review of the overall the development, whether it be stormwater and each area of it, and just take a look at it. When it comes to the planning board, some of the stuff that like we've ran into tonight with our planning board professionals. I'd like to make a policy in part of the appendix 2B, where it's part of the check, where it goes to Labella or whoever that engineering firm to look at that prior to planning board.
Paid for by the developer.
And that's another thing, we need to look at the fee structure. It doesn't need to be on the backs of the residents. So it needs to be developer paid for.
We're not here to subsidize developers.
Correct.
Completely understood. I have it preliminarily as, so there's 57 requirements of Appendix 2B. This would be the 58th, so item B 58th. I have it that's specifically the town engineer, which is currently Bob would be the person to review that. So not just anybody at Labella, it would be our town engineer. Their highest, most senior member would review it. At present, that would be a expense that the taxpayers would have to eat to add the additional review. However, it's pretty clear in order to provide confidence in the planning board's recommendation, staff's recommendation before going to you guys. So we will explore how to reword that requirement, and so that it's not a financial burden to the town.
Right. And there, does that take a UDO change, or is that going to be something on your checklist?
We want that to be specifically a UDO change, because if we're going to try to charge them for it, it has to be explicitly written down.
Okay. Clayton.
Well, I guess I've got a concern, because my impression was it wasn't going to be a quick beginning. It was going to be something more in depth. What I did the Morris Farm afterwards.
No, they're still.
So they're still going to do both.
Yeah. We're adding an extra step in there.
All right, as long as they do both.
Yeah, they will still come. They're going to do the first one before it goes to planning board. Then they'll come back and dive deep into the weeds of it. Exactly what you're saying.
Again, I want to make sure that I'm being understood.
Yeah.
Labella did not look at Morris Farm until the planning board passed it.
Correct.
I don't want that to happen again.
No,
I agree with
that's where we are here. I think,
well,
this, before it goes to the planning board, it has to have that review, period. And it has to be a thorough review.
Yeah, thorough review, not some fluffer thing.
No, it's got to be a thorough review that this checks the boxes.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
If
well,
you're going to
Jim made it
planning
sound
board,
like it
checks
wasn't thorough.
Well, it's a cursory type review. Yeah.
I don't like the word cursory. I don't like the
No,
word cursory.
are you talking about one at the original application, but then a second one before it goes to the planning board?
No.
Are you calling for two, or are you calling for one?
Well, there's one primarily before it goes to the planning board. So they will, before it goes to the planning board, they'll have that overall review to look at it and see if there's anything that stands out to them, and it's anything, that needs to be looked at, and sort of a statement. They'll have a write-up saying, planning board, whatever, you need to look at this. We don't agree with that. This needs to be changed, that kind of thing. Then once it goes to the planning board, they're going to dive deeper into it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and if you feel like another way too. But then we're not giving up one for the other. We're adding another step.
Then again, some clarification.
Okay.
I do too.
Because I don't want the planning board voting on it
If they don't know everything.
if they don't have the deep dive by Labella. I don't want them doing it in between planning board and coming to us. That's too late.
Finding out something's wrong.
That's too. The Morris Farm's a prime example of that. They either do one during the planning board process, so the planning board has it. I don't care if they do a cursory in the beginning,
Mhm.
but I want the planning board to have it in their hands that Labella has taken a deep dive into the engineering aspect of it before they make a recommendation and send it to us.
To me,
So if I can, the recently, and Greg, you might be able to help me out on this. We changed the 2B standard for the level of detail on these application submission to, Greg, do you remember what that level is? It used to be a preliminary plat, or not preliminary plat. It used to be a sketch plan, and we've changed it to another name that,
Schematic.
another level of.
Schematic.
That's correct. So if I may, in 90% of other towns, engineering is not involved in the rezoning process. You're not looking at exactly how a project is engineered. You're looking at it on a sketch or kind of conceptual level, just how many lots it is, how long the road is, that kind of thing. We've asked for more detail even before amending the text, but now that we've added this Appendix 2B and specifically requiring what we call a schematic plan level of detail, we are asking for engineering details up front. So if we're asking for engineering details up front and to the planning board, it does make sense to have an engineer review those plans prior to y'all's recommendation and vote.
So what did you just say?
I'm not.
It would never usually make sense for an engineer to review the plans that you guys vote on. That's not how this process works. Engineers review it after you guys vote on it. As we require it in our code now, we're now asking them to do engineering before you guys vote on it. So if we're going to require them to engineer a project before you vote on it, it makes sense to have an engineer also review it for the town.
I know the planning board has come to me, the chairman of the planning board has come to me and requested this because it would be very helpful for them to have this. So this is specifically a request from the planning board to have this extra step out there in front.
No, there's a lot of pressure on the planning board right now. So
Yeah,
I think that's what
and there is.
If I may, one more thing. So Clayton, the level of review would be the engineer's review of the schematic design. So it's not the final engineering documents, right? Because we will not have those, but we will have the schematic level. And so this would be a much higher level than would be normally expected under conditional zoning. But that actually would be what they're expected to produce to comply with 2B is the level of review that we would ask our engineers to confirm that based on what you've given us, this is going to work. We'll need the details when the actual engineer drawings come out, but what they've shown us, we believe is on the right track, or this was going to work. And I think this time they realized, the design or the documents they got did not meet that level of scrutiny. So,
But that was done after the fact. I mean, here's my problem, Karen, and for the mayor and the rest of the board is the citizens frequently come to us after a development has been built and supposedly approved, complaining about water runoff. And they have my ear and my sympathy. And what I want to do, if we can do it legally, whether it's what other towns do or not, I don't really care. But if we can do it legally, I want it to be right the first time for the people who live there and for the people who live next door. I mean, that's kind of my bottom line.
yeah, I mean, they have to do it right. But it's it's the unknowns on the property that could pop up in the course of actually doing the construction and the final drawings. But even if they find something later on, they still have to make sure that that stormwater system works. And there's several levels of approval that come from our engineers. So they'll approve this schematic plan. They'll approve the first initial engineer drawings. If it turns out that those engineered something, they run into something in the process of putting in that stormwater system, that they have to amend the engineered drawings, that amendment has to be approved by Labella, our people, and then it has to be tested at the end to make sure that that no more water is leaving that site than left it before the development was started and completed. So we just have to be better at monitoring that, and I think those problems become much less.
Is that where these past projects have gone awry? Like, because there's issues with water right now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, we had several gaps with the planning, without having the planning director in house, and I think that it was a lack of priority. But we have assigned this priority to Labella. Everybody's aware of it now. We've got people who are paying attention, and we just can't. We're gonna catch them now. We're not approving anything. We're not releasing bonds until all of this stuff is proven to work.
And then who absorbs the cost of the extra layers of the engineer, the developer?
This will be the new cost of. I think if that's the way you want it to be, I think that we could probably justify charging for this to be this schematic level of engineering review.
To the developer.
Yes.
Right.
All right, well, that's as best we can do.
Well, I think that's the best we can do, but I just want to have when it goes to the board, planning board, they have something that says we have reviewed the basic items here as presented, and this works, this is a problem. It needs to be looked at and fixed before it goes to council.
Right.
And when it's fixed, I want planning board to say, everything's in here has been fixed. The staff says we have fixed everything that's come along. And it's when it comes to you, we don't have a discrepancy over stormwater. We don't have a discrepancy over creek setbacks or this, that, any of those things. Everything's been addressed and not subject to interpretation or nebulous emails that's back and forth like this last one on low density, high density, and where does this 10 acres of water go and how does that really work in state law? I want something that says DEQ says this works, Labella or whoever looks at it and says this, given this information, should work. And he's saying it works.
I'd like to make two statements on that. I think the first one is this is very helpful in determining exactly what language goes into this code amendment. So before it was just have the town engineer look at it. Now we're talking about have the town engineer provide a recommendation basically on it, be more thorough. And lastly, have the town engineer provide a recommendation on it, and the time they spent providing that recommendation should be billed to the developer. So
Correct.
we needed to talk this out in order to get that level of information. So that's helpful. But then secondly, if it's kind of a point of clarification, I just want everybody in the audience and the town council to know that when a subdivision is proposed and voted on by you guys, it doesn't just, go away and it's built over a period of 2 years. There's numerous reviews, engineering documents, construction documents, DEQ, federal, state, recommendations for revisals, all these things that go on. Just because they're not legislative doesn't mean that there's not a lot that goes into a subdivision before it gets built.
There's a huge amount of it on that side.
And none of this is to negate the responsibilities of the planning board. It's just to give them another tool in their tool chest to use to make sure everything's correct by, like Tom said, by the time it gets to this level here.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to help the planning board. I'm not trying
That's
to
the
hurt
whole
them.
idea. I don't want the planning board to have to read 50 pages of some water document showing the hydrology, I don't understand. How many on the planning board do understand? I want somebody that says this works. The developer's person certifying this works, and LaBella's looked at it and said, well, they say it works. It looks from, a review that it should work. And then if there's problems down the road, that's for y'all to fix. If it doesn't work or some problems come up, but you can do upfront address as much as possible.
Right.
And of course, stormwater is the one that's driving a lot of this.
Correct. And if it doesn't work down the road, then it comes back to us or the planning board again to
If they want an exception, they got to come to us,
Right.
or they got to fix it.
Right.
That's it.
So I probably should have added this to the agenda, but this is basically super related to this topic. We're talking right now about an engineer review of projects prior to the planning board. I'm also wondering if we should add, and part of this is a landscape review. And an inspection after. And the reason, because we are confirming through the consent agenda that the Union County Forester, that contract. One of the complaints that I've heard from residents as well is that the landscaping is put in, and this is a process thing. The landscaping is put in, and then sometimes it dies, and it hasn't really been checked. And so I'm wondering, from a process standpoint, we're paying for this forester 48 cents, 48.9 cents per person in terms of population. It's a set fee that we might as well use them and include them in the process. And part of that would be-
I'm not sure that's the price.
Yeah, this is not the place for that.
Yeah, can we add that to next month's agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think it's a process question. What
Yeah.
I'm trying to say is maybe we also have the landscaper, A, review the plans, just like you're talking about Labella approving the plans. And then B, when those trees have been put in, that they inspect to sign off on that UDO issue. That's the reason I'm bringing it
Now,
up.
you're bringing this up, did they comply with the tree ordinance after the fact? Is that what you're asking for, or are you talking about trees they planted? Trees they planted have
Are
to
supposed to be alive
inspected
for
and
2
alive,
years,
but that's
but
part
they're
of,
not.
but that's part of what we're supposed to be doing to some degree, I assume,
Right.
because it's in their agreements.
But talk to people like at Enclave and other places, that has not happened.
Right, and that's something that we would need to
Something
follow
we
up
adjust.
on. I don't think that's something we need to add, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
Stuff to do that.
We're already doing that. We inspect trees up to 2 years.
We're not.
But that's something we need to follow through. I
I'd
don't
like to
think,
make a point of order. That is not on the agenda, and we're
Okay.
not anywhere close to being at the end.
correct.
Yeah.
So, no, and thank you. And we can move on from that.
So I'd like to have it added then for next month, please, because I think there should be a discussion in regards to making sure that things don't wind up dead, that residents expect are
Okay.
there.
So are we okay on this here, where we,
Yeah.
with this here?
Yes.
So your 3 points, Greg, I think you were on the money.
Town engineer, developer at cost, a written recommendation at minimum from that town engineer.
Correct. Okay, good. Okay. So we're going to move on to the discussion consideration of appointments to the Board of Adjustment. And we're at the point here of the nominating, just like it says, to the appointments to the alternates to the Board of Adjustments. And
Is that all we're doing, is the alternates right now?
Yes.
Be clear.
did staff say that we had some other modifications to this, to the policy? Or we're just doing the appointments, correct?
I think after our discussion, you mean alternates?
Yes.
Yeah,
We
I
need
think
to
after our
designate.
discussion, it was the alternates,
Yes.
I believe.
To designate the alternate.
Yeah, designate the alternates.
Yeah, yes, because the next one says amending Board of Adjustment rules and procedures. That's the next item.
Right. Yeah.
So at this point here, we're just doing the alternates.
Right.
And we, can I get
I'll
think
make
that-
a motion
Okay.
to add, to the Board of Adjustment that we would like to have Taylor Grove as an alternate.
as an alternate, Taylor Grove.
Correct.
Okay, all in favor?
Uh,
Okay, all right, so that's Taylor Grove as the alternate.
And I'm going to nominate Rusty Setzer as the alternate, and I want to explain this to some degree. It's been our, I guess, policy in some way that the newest members on the board become the alternates, and as things progress, they become regular members, and that's been our tradition in this. It's not a slight on either Taylor or Rusty they're just the newest two members, and we're following the way we have done this historically.
Right.
So that
Right.
the other people are the voting members, but if they're not available, we do need these alternates to be in attendance because they may be called on to vote.
Yes. No, and Tom, you're correct. And what I would, Karen, I would ask that you're here for those meetings that, because those meetings are typically prior to a planning board meeting when all the planning board's here. I would ask that the alternates not sit at the table, that they go sit in the audience when the Board of Adjustments is meeting. That way there's no confusion, there's no bad optics or whatever. So I'd like for those guys to leave the table and go sit in the audience till the Board of Adjustments is
Unless
finished.
they are needed to be,
Then they will know that prior.
they would know.
Yeah. And so then at that point, after it's finished, then they can come up obviously for the planning board meeting.
They're separate meetings.
Yeah, it's separate. Exactly right.
Anyway.
So-
So I nominate Rusty to fill that position.
Okay. And Rusty, can I get all in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. So Taylor and Rusty are the two alternates. And so we're good on that. The next item is consideration or discussion of amending Board of Adjustment rules of procedure. And I'm not leading that, so I'm not sure, where that's going.
I think that
Karen had mentioned that it has been since 2021 that the rules.
2002, I
Sorry.
believe. Yeah, or 2012. I can't, but there were 20s and 12s and 2s in there, but it's been a while. And Karen Walter and I were talking about it, and it's time to redraft the rules of procedure.
And so it's
you're
something,
asking staff to
yes.
be authorized to review.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor to ask staff to move forward? So that's unanimous. So we'll move forward on that. Okay. Discussion, consideration of amendments of the planning board rules and procedures. I had put this one on here too. There's two things I would like to, cover, and you guys may want to look at this as well, but two items I would like to look at. I would like to give the chair the ability to make a motion. Right now, the chair, he can't vote. He's a tiebreaker, but he can't make a motion. He just sort of, leads the meeting. And I think he can add a lot to it and have great input to the planning board. And I think a little bit right now, his hands are tied. And I'd like to, have him have the ability. Now, he can't vote and make a motion from what I'm told. But I think he would have more management skills to have that motion ability. And I'd like also to look at the, right now, you can miss a meeting. You can miss 2 meetings as long as you don't miss that 3rd meeting. Then you can miss 2 more meetings as long as you don't miss that. So you can miss multiples of 2 meetings all year long and still stay
More
on the
than half the
planning board.
meetings, yeah.
So I'd like to change that. If you miss more than 3 meetings in a year, calendar year, or that whatever that year is, then you get replaced, because it's a disservice to the community if planning board members are just not there. And so you're appointed because of your skill, your talent, your expertise to give your input. And I'm proud of our planning board, and I'd like for them to be there. So I would like to see that move to more than 3 times. You get 3 passes, but that the next time you're out. If I'm not mistaken, Tom, you sit on a lot of boards, and that's sort of the state or the average. I mean, the norm, right?
It is, I'm on a state board, county boards, and it's a 75% requirement. There is an exception for medical reasons that can be approved, to prevent that. But if you have more than 75, you don't make 75% of the meetings, you don't have a real excuse, typically medical, like you're in the hospital or whatever, recovering from an illness, you are resigned effectively.
Right.
And, but I think we have to have a little leeway for medical issues in doing it. But the concept is, if you're going to be on a board, you need to attend. And I go sometimes great lengths, 200 miles to be in a meeting. So it isn't like you can't go 2 miles.
Right. I'd say plan your vacations accordingly because, you're on this board. It's an important board. People are relying on you, and there's a lot of money involved in this when developers come
I
out.
plan my vacation around town council meetings where it's all possible.
Right.
Does this need to be a motion or a recommendation to write the policy? I guess there's two things here in there, Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I would just,
on the
I'd be
first
fine
one,
with just.
tell us on each one separately, any legal opinion we need to be concerned with.
No, these are just procedural. There's no legal issues here. There are other legal issues inside these old procedures. For example, they reference the old 160A instead of the new 160D, and there's some changes with regard to conflict and that kind of thing. So they just definitely need an update. So hearing what the mayor said on those two particular policies, we can just bring you all back a recommended new version of these for both Board of Adjustment and Planning Board that modernizes them a bit, and make sure that we're compliant with parliamentary procedure and what have you, and bring them back for your review. So we can handle that. If you all want that done, then we'll go ahead and get it done.
Okay. So no vote, just
Head nod.
Head nod
Yeah, just
asking the council.
instructions to staff to go ahead and get these things updated.
Okay, all in favor to do that? Okay, we have a head nod to move forward on that from everyone. Okay, and you have documented what we talked about.
Yes.
Okay, as we move forward, and I promise we're hurrying.
Parks and events, H.
Is this appointments? Okay. This is appointments to the Park and Events Advisory Board. And I'm going to back up and say something right quick. Last month we did appointments to the Planning Board, and this month to the Park and Events Advisory Board. I want to say thank you for everyone who came out, who applied, who came out for interviews. We have a lot of I'm just going to say it, down and dirty, awesome folks in this town that want to be involved, and they're brilliant. I don't think we could go wrong with anybody. Unfortunately, fortunately, whatever, we have to pick somebody, but everybody could, you couldn't go wrong with anybody. So if you're watching at a later time, I want to say thank you for, everything, for the Planning Board folks who came out and, applied, interviewed, and same way with the Park and Events. So it's, I appreciate everybody's involvement and wanting to be involved in the town, and that just speaks volumes. So thank you. So do I have in this too here, I'm just going to say this, we're going to select not only the 7 members, but also the chair and co-chair. And
Vice chair.
yes, vice chair, co-chair of the Park and Advisory Board. So do I have a motion? And also, one more thing, because we're starting out, we have to set,
Stagger.
we're going to have to stagger it. And so there will be, I guess, 3 that are 2-year terms. Normally, this position is a 4-year term, 4 years, okay? So we're going to select 3 people who are 2-year. Then there's going to be 4 who are 4 years, just to get us into this staggered thing. Otherwise, it would be 6 years and 4 years. And so I think the council felt like, 2 years starting off. So I'm just letting everybody know that up front. Okay. So when you give a nomination, please let us know if that's the 2-year or the 4-year nomination, okay? And then we'll go through it and vote on it. And
we're going to vote on the chair and vice chair after we do the appointments. That's probably the proper way.
Yeah, I think so. I think we need to do that. You're correct, Tom. Okay. So do I have
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'm going to nominate Gail Butler for a 4-year term.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Gail, welcome. Do I have
I make a motion to appoint Paula Smith to a 4-year term.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, it's unanimous.
I think I've got another one.
Okay.
Make a motion to appoint Mike. I'm going to ruin this name and I apologize.
Parizzo.
Patrizio.
Pedrizzo to a 4-year. Patrizio, I think is the correct way.
You sound more Italian.
To a 4-year term.
Okay, all in favor for Mike? Okay, it's unanimous. Okay.
I nominate Sundar Subthanan to a 4-year term.
Okay, all right, all in favor? Okay,
And
it's
I also
unanimous.
would like to nominate Anne Marie Cruz for a 2-year term.
Okay, all right, Anne Marie, then welcome. And it's all in favor for Anne Marie as well. And
I will make a motion to nominate Kasturi Shetty for a 2-year term.
okay, all in favor? Okay, it's unanimous.
And I would like to nominate Nicole Dickens to a 2-year term.
Okay, all in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, what about chair and co-chair?
I nominate Gail Butler for chair.
Okay, all in favor? Gail Butler's chair, it's unanimous. Gail's chair.
And I nominate Paula Smith for a co-chair.
Okay, all in favor, Paula for co-chair?
I better not vote.
Okay, all right,
Vice-
so
vice
we'll
chair?
say, we'll say 3.
Vice chair?
Vice chair,
Vice chair,
co-chair,
vice
vice
chair,
chair,
vice chair.
however you want to, yeah, to do that. And,
Go chair.
yeah. All right, and I want to say welcome to everyone and everyone who interviewed and everyone who's a part. The ones who I want to say to everyone who even that wasn't nominated to be a part of this and come out and be a part. And I'm going to say to the board, listen, get input from folks and take advice and those folks that that weren't nominated to be a part and volunteer and come out. So it doesn't, you can still be a part of this. So, and so thank you guys for this. And Karen will be in touch with ones who are not here. And
So you'll tell the people who were nominated and the ones who did not receive,
Mhm.
did not. And y'all will try to do an organizational meeting for these people in the near future.
Yes.
yeah, and the bylaws, it states the date and time for the first meeting. So you'll let everybody know. So Karen will be in touch with everybody. So, but again, thank you everyone in advance for all the hard work already up top. I think it's going to be fun. So thank you. Okay, so we're good with that. So I'm going to move into the discussion of the Weddington Youth Council. Back months ago, I've had quite a few high school students come to me. We want to be involved with the town. How can we be involved? What can we do? And at that point during the campaign, it's like, guys, I don't have time to think about this. We want to support you. The school was just, was awesome. And so I reached out to Principal Bills at Weddington High School. And I think he's, a lot of people see him like a rock star down there. Everybody just loves him to death. And he's really involved with the students, with the sports and whatnot. And so I met with him and talked about starting a Weddington Youth Council, where it's a win-win. It gets them involved with the town functions, and it gets us. It builds a relationship between the town and the school. And when I met with Principal Bills, he was like, Jim, I see there's tons of possibilities. I think this was an awesome thing. He said we could have 400 or 500 people right off the top being involved in this. So I also met with State Representative Willis and our Board of Elections, not elections, but Board of Education Representative Kathy Heidel. And they were real supportive and thought it was a win-win for both sides and really appreciated it. And so what I'd like to see us do, and what I picture us to do, there will be one meeting per month here at Town Hall. They will do the legwork, set this up. Waxhaw has already started one. Monroe, Charlotte. It's a great way to get the students involved again. I've had numerous students reaching out to me almost monthly. Hey, we'd like to, what's going on with this? So I think there's a ton of enthusiasm there to be a part. And I think it's a win-win for them and for us, and especially whatever, if we end up doing something over here, I think it pulls the school together. And so I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but I'd like to use some of Waxhaw's, ideas of how they set it up, and even on our webpage, with something on our webpage and for the parks and for this, or for the events committee, I should say. So I'd like to get a head nod. I guess we just need a head nod to approve with the council, to just them coming here at least once a month, and to also two things. One other thing is they've already said they have a teacher that's going to be from the school to the town liaison, and I'd like to get from the town to the school council member liaison that works together. No, not a council member that's going to sit there and come up with everything. That's going to be them. It's really just a conduit for answering questions, being here, for that meeting, that once a month meeting, and just making sure everything goes, but not running the meetings. It's just being here, being a part of it. And I see the sky's the limit for this. I see there's a lot of possibilities having that relationship with the school and with the students, and it also brings just the parents involved with us as well. So I mean, I could ramble on and on because I've talked to them a lot about it, and but you get the gist of it. Is the council good and have favor with the council on this? Okay, so I have a head nod with that. I don't know if I need a vote, Karen Walter, or just a head nod of approval.
No, head nod's good. Head nod's fine.
Okay. Do I have a council member? I know we had talked.
I'm happy to supervise the youth council club when they are here at town hall, which should be once a month.
Yeah. And
if I should ever have a conflict, I would hope then I could.
I would love to do it, but it just depends on meeting times for me. But
Okay.
Like between
Right.
the two of us, I think we can cover.
And you
it.
guys could alternate, or if you don't, whatever, if you want to be, I think
I
it,
just think if there potentially, if there's a vacation once in the year, who knows what happens,
Yeah.
but I'm happy to participate.
it's building the relationship with the principal of the school. We're not running it. We're just being a part of it. That makes sense. Okay. So we're good with that. So Ellen, you'll be the primary and Darcy the secondary? you know?
Sure, great.
Okay. All right. So we're good with that. The discussion of the timing for the town council packets. I think
That would be me.
Mhm.
I find the packets are, 200, sometimes 200 pages in length. We get them, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, depending. It's a lot to crack through in a short period of time, and it's very technical. I don't know if there's any opportunity to get them earlier to town council.
So
But I can tell you, I would really appreciate that.
I agree, especially because my weekends are crazy with
Yes.
sports, but they can't like, and I had the same comment long ago, and y'all can't get the information because it's not usually out there yet, right?
A lot of it depends on the time of the month. We can't run the financial reports. It's like the earlier meetings. Last month, I think it was the 8th was the council meeting, so that's hard to get it done. It's just getting everything together. Sometimes the timing between the planning board and the council, getting all of that back organized. So Wednesday is the day we shoot for.
If it's financial though, I mean, that's okay, because that's only like 2 or 3 pages usually.
I mean, even like
It's
y'all are
just
adding
like-
stuff to the agenda till last minute. We're
Okay.
getting emails till last minute. I can understand
No,
why Wednesday is kind of the drop dead.
I just
last
didn't know if
minute.
it was possible to
Girl,
almost do like
I know.
phases, phase 1 and phase 2.
Then we're
Yeah.
just reading all month long. Just book out your Sunday, I think.
Well, just 2 cents worth. It seems like for me, the biggest chunk of it is the development
Yeah.
stuff.
And if we buckle this
And,
down.
and if we could get,
Yeah.
I mean, that should be ready right after the planning board, shouldn't it?
Unless there's conditions that are placed on there, sometimes we have to give them time, like the Morris Farm case, there were 8 conditions. We
Right.
have to give them time to provide that information.
But I think what you just heard from the mayor was, we're not accepting anything from the planning board with conditions anymore. That's the new rule.
That's been the policy that has been expressed to me, yes.
Yes, I mean,
So then it
that's
shouldn't
what the
be on
mayor
the
expressed
agenda.
tonight.
And we
so-
spent the whole night buttoning up
Right.
procedure, so if that happens, then there should be a lot less
At
to
least
try to
get the,
figure out.
at least get the,
Well, that part could be posted early even.
Yes.
If
That's
it's
what I
on the
mean.
agenda.
Yes.
it
and
could
that's
be
the biggest
posted.
chunk of it.
Yes,
Yeah, it is.
that's the biggest chunk.
I get it. Deal Lake was between 800 and 900 pages.
And I would love to more carefully curate it so that it's the relevant information that you guys need that's
Yeah.
digestible.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but our citizens have very high demands on what the content of that packet is. And if there's
Yeah.
one sheet missing out of 900, they're going to point it out. So
Yeah.
I have to give you everything.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly want everything, but I mean, but again, if we can get that a week before.
Well, and if we have that review that addresses the areas, we can read that. Then if we need to look at the cursory information, we can look at it if we could understand it.
Mhm.
But anyway, the proper, the emails and the letter chains, we can go read that. That is, but I know like this one you had, all the A2 documents were there. Well, that's what's required.
Mhm.
They need to be in the package,
Mhm.
even though, digitally it killed a couple trees, but we had them there for review in case anybody had a question, they were there. I
Mhm.
understand. But, having them, when it becomes available, it doesn't hurt our feelings if it got posted to us as the development package that will be on the agenda,
Yes.
is the way I'm saying. Because I know you have to have time, they got to have time between the two, but when it becomes available, there's no reason to wait till the entire package comes out.
Because that's the bulk of the work.
That is the hardest part on us,
Mhm.
is if there is a development project going through as you say, the 900 pages of whatever that you had to put together, So it just requests when the final version is available, it can be posted on the town website and sent to us. I mean, there's no reason to hold it back if it's on the agenda.
I don't have a problem with any of that. I just need to get the development stuff early.
Yes.
And the other stuff, I can get through rather quickly.
Me too.
Yeah,
But the development stuff is where I get bogged down in the weeds.
yeah.
Agreed.
It was hurting me yesterday and today, I guarantee you.
So where do we come with this?
You tell me,
You,
whatever you want.
what can you do?
I don't know.
I know.
I know I can do Wednesday.
Well,
So I won't know what I can do,
How-
because it comes as it goes.
And it probably is month to month, right? Like,
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion, at least with regard to the development stuff? I understand that Greg needs to go through it and to make sure that every page is there.
Mhm.
I'm not worried about you sending stuff on Wednesday, Karen. What I'd like to get from Greg is after he's had the opportunity to give it a good scrub to make sure all the pages are there, at least get the development stuff to us, preferably as far prior to Wednesday as possible.
And so you don't want as much of the sewer permits and that stuff. You don't need that
Well, I think they have to be in the package.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of,
required.
Yeah, that's not what he's saying, I don't think.
No,
No,
I'm
well-
just thinking of all talking about the bulk.
What
Well,
I'm
there
saying,
is a bulk,
I
and
want the whole
unfortunately,
bulk of the
you know,
development.
the checklist calls for these items, correct, Greg?
Yeah. What I don't
Therefore,
need,
you have to provide the backup for them. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
We may have to wade
all
through them.
this other stuff, Karen, that you send us on whatever, I don't need that till Wednesday. Wednesday's fine on that. Because I can get through that stuff rather quickly. But what I need from Greg is Wendy, I understand the need to go through it and make sure it's all there. I appreciate that. I want it to be complete. I don't want it to be rushed to the point where it's not going to be complete. But if Greg can do it prior to Wednesday, the sooner the better, I guess is what I'm saying.
But there's going to be, I guess that's going to preclude about anything that's approved 1 month isn't going to be on the immediately following agenda because there's no time. You know, if you're the last Monday and you're going to the second, and the way calendars can fall, you'd have a very difficult time getting, everything done before the next meeting, and may have to skip a council meeting to have time to have it all put together. Is that reasonable? I mean, I'm asking because I don't know your workload, Greg.
When did Morris Farm pass the planning board? February.
Yeah,
Right, and here we are in April.
I know. That's what
So
I'm saying.
I
It
wanted-
isn't practical to do it the next month. It's got to be at least an additional month.
Well,
Is that-
I want the one that's going to be on the agenda to be voted up or voted down.
Right. Exactly.
I don't need the other stuff.
Yeah.
I'll get that in due time.
Right.
I just need the stuff that is going to be, like Morris Farm, for example, theoretically was supposed to happen tonight. And I would have liked to have had that Monday or even prior to that if possible.
Yeah.
I don't need something too much down the road.
No, I understand.
So what I'm
I
hearing
think we're
is,
talking the same thing.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we're just talking, he's got to have time to get it and work it and whatever. Then when it's all ready, when you say it's all ready, it will be on the agenda. Is that the way you look at it, Greg?
The compromise I would offer is I can provide you the information sooner. I would just hope that the town council, if you find issue with it or take issue with it, you respond back accordingly and not spring it at the last moment on, a Monday night.
I have a question.
Okay.
That's true.
let's just check it.
That's fair.
Mhm.
And this may be creative, but I'm happy if you knock it down, tell me if we're in those parameters or not. I know we've got, like rules and procedures, but what if we pushed the planning board meeting and the town council meeting apart a little more so that maybe Greg would have the time to get everything assembled? No?
You can't do
You
They're
can't
going
do that?
to, as we're talking,
All right,
it's going to be a month or two later.
okay.
There
Physically, a month or two, not
Okay.
2 weeks. It's going to be,
are certain benchmarks are 15 business days
doesn't work.
for a complete application and
Okay.
then 10 calendar days to advertise the public hearing.
Yeah.
Right.
We went on the space
It's
out as
going
we
to
can.
be
Correct.
several
Okay.
meetings away once it gets past the planning board. Correct, Greg?
Not necessarily. I'll do the best I can.
Yeah. But it easily could be
You're not sitting on
multiple
full
meetings
like-
farther.
He has to go through so much stuff. He's not,
I know.
it's not done on Monday and he's just sitting on it, waiting until Wednesday
Yeah.
to send it. I think we're getting it when
Yeah.
he's.
If it's going to be ready in time to meet the stuff, the requirements,
Right.
If it's got to be out there so many days in advance, well, we need it. We don't need to get it later.
And to Clayton's, defense, if it's like, 1 month and it's like waiting on it for a while, just go ahead and send it to us. You don't have to be all nice and neat in the full packet. Just send it to us. Let us be looking over it. If you want, send it to us again or whatever, if you want it nice and neat.
Then everybody's gonna complain that it wasn't all nice and
I think
neat.
it needs to be as complete as possible so
Yeah,
that I'm
if
not
it's coming to
saying
us,
which
I don't know what
edition
Okay.
do I need to look at.
Okay. Then it's going to be hard to do that.
Well,
He's gonna do the best he can.
well,
Yeah.
well, like I said, it's been a while since it was February, the planning board?
23rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had March, right?
But that's what I said. And you
It
just
takes
said
that long.
you'd
It takes
rather.
an extra month or so to
Well,
get one together.
And the reason, honestly, that it wasn't brought to you in March is partially because there wasn't enough time for public hearing notice from the planning
Yeah.
board recommendation to the council meeting.
Well,
There's not, February doesn't have that extra week.
Every month and every development is gonna be different. I'm just asking Greg,
As soon as you.
as soon as you can get it ready and make it as complete as you can make it, I would ask that you send it to us and Karen not hold it until Wednesday to send it to us.
Well,
I don't hold anything,
yeah.
by the way.
I think it's when the package is complete and ready for submittal, send it to us.
And you guys will get it every Wednesday.
Yeah, but if it can be Monday or Tuesday,
Or you
fine.
just keep going around and around,
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
It just would be nice to get it, so to at least get the development stuff sooner than later. That's kind of the bottom line for me.
All right,
it has to meet the meeting requirements.
Yeah.
so I think we beat
Beat-
the horse.
Yeah.
Beat-
So
All right.
they'll do what they can do.
Alright.
So,
Okay.
okay, we're good.
Yeah.
All right, so go to K, code enforcement. This past Friday, thank you, Greg. Greg and I met with Matt Ray. He is a code enforcement. Karen works with him up at Lake. No, what? Davison. Thank you. I'm sorry. He's code enforcement in Davison, Baden, former town planner with the county. Credentials, smart guy. I met with him. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while. As we're tightening up our UDO, I felt like we should be tightening up our code enforcement as well, our codes. And so Greg and I met with him on where we're falling short. Are we, do we have holes in our UDO? Code rather, code enforcement, or others doing things that we should be doing, that kind of thing. So, long story short, he said that he can look at it and do an audit of our codes and see where we're falling short, tighten up some things, give our codes teeth. As we know, we get a lot of emails from about, different properties and that kind of stuff. Some of it, we just don't have teeth. Some of it, we need to change some wording on. He sat right there and we went through different things. He said, I can change this. We need to change that. Obviously, we'll run this through Karen Walter there to make sure we're all good with it. But he said we could do an audit and tighten it up. And I even told him, I said, if there's areas that that these other towns are not doing that they should be doing, just don't limit us to them, but go ahead and tell us what we need to be doing as far as tightening up things. And that's what he wants to do. Rambling on by saying we have not met our budget for this year. We're still way under budget for code. So we have plenty of room in there for this. He thinks it'll take him about 20 hours to do this. And so I'm estimating probably $1,400-1,500 to do that audit. And so I'd like to, see if we can tighten up, give our codes more teeth to fix some of these areas in town that we've been.
Well, that's the
Fine.
biggest thing is
Struggling with.
Yes.
or
thank you.
enforcement's the big thing. Give it teeth,
Yes.
some bite where we can hold people accountable.
Yeah, and that's what he's going to look at doing.
Fines, whatever.
Right, and we'll run it through Karen and Greg's going to work with him as well on that. So they're going to work together, and then we'll go through Karen to make sure we're all good.
But Kerry was supposed to be the nuisance ordinance,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. He's primarily going to work on the nuisance ordinance, correct?
Which is relatively a very small portion of our overall codes. It's not within the UDO, it's in a separate ordinance. But in terms of size, it's very manageable. I think with Matt's assistance and within our current budget, we can audit that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Include the chickens.
Yeah. Did I miss anything, Greg, in what I was saying?
No, sir.
Also, if there's any areas, I'm going to say this to I think Karen had mentioned too, and I mentioned to Karen Dewey, that about trailers and motor homes, mobile homes, that kind of thing. Add that into it as well. If it's not in that, have him look at that.
Painfully aware of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So can I, council, how do you feel?
I fully support trying to remove some of these eyesores and hideous things that have been left in this town for way too long. Y'all figure it out. I will be a happy man to vote for it.
It is unanimous.
Yeah, and it's within our scope of budget too, so we're not going above our budget.
It's inside the approved budget for this
Correct.
year to do this.
Okay, so do we need a vote or just a head nod?
Head nod.
Head nod. So we got a head nod, so we're all good. So we're going to move forward on that. And the sooner the better. Okay. Tom, this next item L, I'm going to let you run with that because you're on the WUMA.
Yeah, at WUMA, we had been discussing, I may have mentioned, water that is provided by the county, and that it is fluoridated. Now, for the background information, this does not affect anybody who's on a well. Half the people in this town, it doesn't make any difference to. The other half, it may or may not make a difference to. But what we have figured out is that the water in the western half of the county, which includes us, comes from Lancaster. Lancaster fluoridates their water. Union County, that operates processing plants on the eastern half of the county, a couple of years ago removed the fluoride from their water. And the county's policy is not to have fluoridated water. But being we buy our water effectively from Lancaster, we can't do anything about it. The town of Marvin has passed a resolution that's gone to the county, the state of North Carolina, and to the state of South Carolina, asking that they, policy to remove fluoride from the water. Waxhaw will pass resolutions on that tomorrow. These, of course, are non-binding, but these are asking that the fluoride be removed in the water that would come to the western part of the county. They're in support of that. There's a lot of science and discussion both ways on whether you should or should not fluoridate water. By researching this, there's different opinions. The one thing is fluoridating water helps, especially kids' teeth. But at the same time, it's not just going on the teeth, it is going into your entire body, and it's a mineral that you're adding something not naturally occurring in our area into your water. And there is certain science that says it's probably not that good for you, and it may not be of any benefit by taking it orally like that to the teeth. Now, when the doctor puts it on your teeth, it's known to be good, but that doesn't affect the entire body. And when you use it with toothpaste, I asked my brother, who's a retired dentist, I said, what does it do? He said, well, it's pretty good until you decide to wash your mouth out. As soon as you finish brushing your teeth, you did nothing. You washed away the fluoride. So whatever they put in there didn't do any good. But what I'd like to see is that we have inputs from the citizens who are on county water. I think I'm on well water. I think everybody here, you're on.
Nope, I'm not. I'm on city water.
You're
and
on county
I'm
water.
Catawba
Yeah, you're on.
water. And I've also done some research on this, and fluoride that is added to water,
Yep.
added to your water, is not medical grade.
Yeah.
So
It's
it is
industrial
an industrial waste. It is considered an industrial waste. It comes from like expulsion of like
Fertilizer.
chemicals from quarries.
Yep.
And most of Western Europe, except for Ireland, I think, they've taken it out of their water. They find, yes, fluoride is fine topically, medical grade on your teeth.
Yeah.
They have found when you take it out of the water, it doesn't change the cavity rate whatsoever. So I'm inclined, I have my own personal opinion. My own personal opinion is I would like to not be drinking water because they've never shown that ingesting it does anything.
Doesn't make possible.
And there's potential that it's contaminated by lead and some other
Other
things.
ancillary
And
metals.
yes, so I don't know where the rest of you are feeling and how much we want to open it up for public, but that's my gut reaction.
Well, I like
My opinion is we ought to
Tom's
let the-
suggestion that we
Go ahead.
solicit input from those folks who are on the system.
Yeah.
Rather than just unanimous, rather than
Correct.
just.
Well, we don't need to do that. We need to get
Yeah.
great public
Feedback.
input.
I would love to hear comments from the public, but I want to hear comments from the public who are affected,
Correct.
Like
So
us.
I am, yes.
You are, I'm not.
I drink it every day
You
and I
drink
sit
it
there and I
every day.
think, do I want to put this on my lips?
Yeah.
I'm literally paranoid every time, not just because of that. But
Yeah, the water in the western half of the county comes from the Catawba River.
Mhm.
That's where Lancaster gets the water.
Right.
The eastern part of the county gets their water from the Yadkin River.
So.
And their
e-
processing
email
plant
us
does not do
is the
this.
best
Yeah.
thing.
And I would
So-
recommend that we actually put it on the agenda for a public hearing.
Yeah, but in the meantime, could we direct the staff to put it, like in our newsletter, when it's going to go up, we want your input through email.
Or a survey on the website, they could just hit, their address and are they for or against it?
So,
But please, people who are affected, I don't think we need to ask people who are not affected what their opinion is here. This is for affected people.
Correct.
In the western part of.
Well, the
Reading.
entire town, if you're on county water, it comes from Lancaster.
Oh, okay.
That is
All right.
what it is.
So
The
District
eastern
One is
part of
gonna
the
hit.
county is Union County processed water with no fluoride.
Okay. So
Okay.
so
All
if you're
the
on
water
public
in our towns through here, these Wesley Chapel,
Okay.
us,
Okay.
Marvin's, down to Waxhaw, and I think Stallings are all served by this water
Okay.
system.
so let's put it on the agenda. Let's, first of all, staff just flood it. We want people's input. We want, comments, everything we can get. This is not us.
Send an email to me.
Yeah, whatever we can get, we need people standing here, public comments.
Yep.
Could you just, whatever ways we can get that out? Do you want that on the May?
They put it on the next agenda
For May?
for a resolution, but I would say that we ought to have a public hearing prior to voting on the resolution.
Correct. Yes,
I
totally.
want people to say what they think.
All right. So are we good to
I'm
move on
good.
from this? All right. So let's move on in lieu of time. Karen Dewey, you mentioned this item M is delegates for the League of Municipalities. Can you
Each
explain?
council, as a member of the North Carolina League of Municipalities, you all need to designate a voting member to vote for the North Carolina League of Municipalities Board of Directors. I will, once you designate them, I will fill out the form and you'll get the email with the ballot and all of that. But it's just a matter of being a part of this group. They can't have all of you vote. You all need to pick one.
So,
Okay, Jim, you win.
okay.
You get to fill out the paperwork.
All right. You guys are okay. I'll do it.
Yep.
Let's-
Yeah. So, okay, I'll do that. So Karen, I'm done that.
None of us are running for league offices.
Correct. Okay. All right, we're going to move forward to, unless I've missed anything, we're going to move forward to code enforcement report.
It's in your packet. We talked about working with Matt and the positive steps on giving our code more teeth. We'll pursue that audit as soon as possible. We hope to get that done by the end of the fiscal year, so by summer.
Okay. And that's June, right? Did you say June? Did you tell me?
It'd be by July 1st in
July
order to
1st,
be in the
okay.
budget.
Okay.
Out of this year's budget.
Yes. Okay. So we're good there, Greg? Update our finance officer, tax collector. Thank you, Leslie.
Of course, we pick a late night meeting for me to actually have stuff to report.
Sorry.
The monthly financials are in your packet. The one thing that I do want to let y'all know is we had a March 31st hard deadline for our audit. You might have remembered we amended our contract to give us to that date. The auditor did not meet it, so our audit has not been submitted. So we will most likely get a nice little letter from the LGC that says, this was bad, you weren't supposed to do this. The worst case scenario, state passed a legislation that if you don't submit your audits, they can withhold your sales tax money. It's very unlikely to happen under the circumstances because it's the first time we haven't. But the auditor reached out to me today to say that she thinks she's going to have it and will submit it within the next 2 weeks. If we get a letter from the LGC, we'll just need to respond and appeal if they threaten to withhold the money. And even if they withhold it, once it's submitted, they will reinstate it and give it back to us. But I wanted to let you know that's happening. The auditor said that she will amend the contract, reduce the fees because it's on her. She's the reason for the delay, but wanted to let you know.
Question.
So, yes.
When we receive the audit, because I know we have to approve the audit.
Right.
Could we or should we consider, if it's well in a limbo between a meeting, hold a short special meeting to approve that to get it in quicker?
If they no, she'll go ahead and submit it, and then the LGC approves it, and then she brings it to you.
Okay, it's after.
Yes.
Okay, it's that way. I thought we had to approve it first,
No,
then send it.
no, we send it in first.
Okay.
They review it. If there's any issues with it, we modify it, and then when it's accepted, she presents the final one to you
Because
guys.
most boards I'm on, we review it before we send it to whoever it has to go.
Right, no, in this case, it's the other way
That's
around.
nonprofit world.
Yeah, it's the other way around, And then the other thing that's in your packet is the current iteration of the proposed budget for next year. We got our numbers from the county, the first of last week. We got the tax valuation, which we estimated pretty good. We didn't have to adjust that. We got the urban forester number, which was already in the budget, didn't need to change. And we got the sheriff's number. That did need a change. So they indicated that with the number of municipal deputies that they have now, they needed to hire an oversight, an administrator to handle them. And we are getting charged our percent portion of that cost for another sergeant. So that bumped our increase up. We estimated 6, it's 13.3. So I did go in and modify some other expense items to cover that. So the total budget didn't change, but that line item did.
Okay.
So
One question for the public in case they hadn't seen it. What is the taxable real, ad valorem value that we have in this town?
I had it.
I know you
I don't know. I wrote
I
it
just-
down.
I-
Oh, I did write it
I just
down.
want them to
I
hear
did
the
write
number
it
of what we
down.
have in this town.
$5.1 billion.
5.1 billion?
Yes. So, and that is about 3.5% higher than last year due to growth.
5 billion.
And then next month we will have the budget, we'll call for the public hearing, and we'll have the public hearing in June.
Okay.
And we'll try to nail down any other outstanding items such as the website, make sure we get that covered.
So the
Yeah.
sheriff cost, is that because it's under, it's where we have.
We have
so many
we have a
people-
contract with them.
No.
Yeah.
So we have 5 deputies, right? But
Right.
Are we getting, is it divided potentially because there are 5 other municipalities and it's divided equally between those 5, or is it done based on?
It's based on
population
it's
rate?
based on Karen spoke to
I spoke to Deputy Underwood this morning or this afternoon, and he explained that the cost of this sergeant is split among the 5 municipalities that have municipal contracts by their percentage. So we've got 5, there's 14 deputies under municipal contracts.
Okay, so
We have
we
5
have a
of
percentage of
those.
the 5. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's, you know,
Except Indian Trail is not in that because they
Yeah,
have their
they
own
have-
standalone. Yeah.
Just trying to figure out the math. Thank
Don't
you.
worry, Marvin and Wesley Chapel are schools. Let's just
Yeah.
leave it at that.
He
But-
did mention that that could change, because Marvin may be chattering about an additional deputy.
They are.
And Wingate may be chattering about an additional
Yeah.
deputy. So that amount may change. And the county hasn't even approved those numbers yet either. I don't know if I mentioned.
No, those are preliminary numbers from the county. They usually get adjusted, never down. But
There's one question I have, based on that, you have basically a quarter of left to pay, basically, and
Mhm.
most of the revenue's been received.
Right.
It appears we have enough unexpended budgeted to cover your expected expenses to
Yes.
be not negative for the year.
Yes, we are looking pretty good right now, unless there's some really late consulting fees coming in.
Well, we'll have things happen, but.
Right.
But it looks like we have budgeted properly.
Yes,
That we won't be negative.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right.
Anything else?
Thank you so much. I think we're good. Transportation report in lieu of time. I will add my comments next time. So there's not much anyway. Council comments.
Oh, yeah, they got a planner and stuff.
Oh, thank you, Bill. I'm looking at the clock. I'm looking at the clock and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay. So thank you, Bill.
I will be brief still. So Moore's Farm, I think the planning board chairman, the applicant and staff are all in alignment that the best path forward is to go to the planning board. So I think that's the right step was taken for that matter. That leaves that going to the planning board and you guys again in May. There's also the matter of the Grandview subdivision. That's kind of next in line. And then there are 2 other potential subdivisions that have had community meetings, but have not gone to the planning board. I've provided a rough spreadsheet to Mayor Bell as part of his Meet the Mayor presentation. I can share that with each member of council so they know, so you know in what order all of our development projects, including things that have been voted on years ago, and what stage of development everything is in. But it is a very busy time in the planning department right now.
Okay. Town administrator.
Yes, keep it brief as well. I'm working with a company in Waxhaw. Actually, they're not in Waxhaw anymore. Signature Services, looking for apparel and other Weddington branded merchandise. They don't have a lot of the fun, the no trespass or the no soliciting signs or the ornaments, but I'll find them. So yeah, and I'll have links for you guys to look at. A shirt to order, see what kind. I was thinking start simple with polos for everybody, but I figure I would see what you guys want. And I'd like to set up a link on the website where people can go and order it so we don't have to. The only problem with that is she said they have minimums and sometimes that's difficult, but if they wait until they get.
Yeah, I guess that's the
10 shirts.
question. Can it compile up into
Yeah,
whatever?
There's ways to get around that, like the sports teams open the store and close it on a certain date so
Yeah.
that there's bulk orders
Right,
coming
so it
in.
doesn't go, the good thing about this was it went straight to them and we wouldn't have to deal with it, but that may be a better.
Well, it's the same thing. It goes straight to them, just
Okay.
like the coach will open it on this date and close it on this date, so everybody does it on the same week.
Who do they use, do you know?
I can find out.
Where it could be open for a month, then
Right,
close.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I've worked with
Yeah,
this
I've ordered
company
stuff that
before,
way.
and they're really good people, small, local, keep it in Union County type, but,
If you can, yep.
so.
That is good.
All right. Anything else, guys? We're good. Now, can we do council report?
Council comments,
Council comments, that too.
I guess.
Just quick, Tomorrow is the Garden Club of Weddington again. If you are interested, go over to Siler, like 9:15 in the morning. We'll be talking about propagation. Thank you.
Cool.
We have covered so many things and they might seem like technical admin tasks, but this is all part of the process. And I'm super grateful to people that have done the nitty gritty work and research, but it's part of the process to communicate, modernizing how we communicate online, gathering hard data on environmental footprints, so that we can give residents the tools they need to stay informed. How we can protect our natural resources that we all moved here to be a part of. We're building a smarter, more resilient town hall. And I hope that the conservation amendments and text amendments will make it clear that we aren't allowing, homes on 1/4 acre lots, but that overall it's still 1 acre lots like all of us had said we wanted, but
Correct.
we're also trying to preserve green space, trees, all sorts of different things. So I hope this just makes it really clear so the process moving forward is so much simpler for everyone involved.
No, and
Well, the only thing I'd like to do is, I wrote the first article for Council Corner. Thank you, staff, for getting that in our last newsletter. And I think we need a volunteer for next month.
Thank you. I meant to put that in my administrator's report. Thank you. Ask
Yeah.
for somebody to do that. for next
Yeah, well, we,
I'm happy to participate unless somebody else is chomping at the bit.
Chomp on it.
well, again, just kind of want to reinforce, so at least y'all be thinking about it. It's items of interest that the community might have and something that you're involved in. So an item of interest or explaining why things are the way they are.
Like
It's
half acre lots.
educating, like half acre lots. There's a lot of things, but they don't have to be legal. I mean, I've got 100 legal ideas I'd like to get out there to educate people with, but items of interest too, kind of break it up. So be thinking about something that you might want to write, and it doesn't have to be anything lengthy, I don't think.
Yeah.
That's,
and there's a lot of misinformation out there too that we can clear
well,
up. Too.
that's it. I want to try to misinformation, try to clear that up. So absolutely.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody who came out tonight. Of course, only 2 of y'all from the public are still here. Thank you for waiting to the bitter end of this meeting. And I want to thank staff for putting together this package. It was voluminous. It was time consuming. And it was.
Are they interested in that?
It was a bear. I know
Youth
it
council.
was, and I appreciate it. And it just not the development packages, but all the other stuff we did. There was a lot of things we covered tonight. This was a lot of stuff on the staff, and I want to thank them for their hard and diligent work. And I hope more people. There's nobody here.
They're watching.
They're watching. Anybody, please come out, give us your opinions, and we will want to hear about fluoridated water from people on county water.
Yes. All right.
Thank
cool.
you.
Thank you.
And I want to, and like you were saying, thank you to a couple of our potential youth council, Weddington Youth Council members who are still here. But I want to thank the staff. You guys, there was a lot tonight, and we brag on you guys a lot. I'm going to brag on the council. This council is dedicated, has a heart for doing the best thing for this town and making sure, this town grows. It brings value to town. It's a win-win for all of us. And so they have a heart to do what's best for this town. And so they don't do it lackadaisically. They put a lot of heart into it. So I want to thank this council for what you guys do. It's a great council. And after this, we're going to go into a closed session. So can I get a motion?
I make a motion to move into closed session.
And
with a 10-minute break.
Yeah, we're going to take a break, but can I get a motion to approve the go in? Get it?
I think Tom made it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, motion, but all in favor. All in favor? Okay, it's unanimous, move into closed session. We're going to move into closed session, but we're going to take a 15-minute break right quick, and we'll move into. 10. Okay. All right.
Youth council, you may now exit your